one crazy mother named Ice Cube. From the gang called Fellers with Attitudes. When I'm called off, I got a soda. Squeeze the trigger and bodies are hauled off. You too, boy, if you're with me. The police are gonna have to come and get me off your ass. That's how I'm going out. For the punk mothers, they're going out.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Is it still morning for you? No, it's 12 o'clock, isn't it? It's just gone midday, isn't it, Andy? Good afternoon. Welcome to Top 5 in Your Collection. Episode 6. Episode 6 already.
Yes. Well, yeah, good to be here. Good to be here.
Episode 6, you both went, yeah, all right, thanks. Anyway, how are you both? All right.
Really
doing good.
Tonight we have Jeffers on from Chasing 80s, and we have the lovely Andrew from Le Miracle himself, HOLOCHRONICLES. Let's see who's here. G-Force is here. Hi, G-Force. Ricardo's here. Hi, Ricardo. Rob's Retro says, hey, guys, just headed to a Memorial Day get-together. Can't wait to watch later tonight. I know Jeff and Andy will have some awesome items.
Rob.
You know, Kieran's here. Good old Ops is here. Hi, Shabby, Jeff, Andy and all. Wow, packed. Good old Jess is here. Hi, Jess. Nice to see you, pal. Shabby, have you seen the YouTube video of the remastered Gem cartoon song intro that's playing at the moment? No, but I will definitely be.
You'll be all over that.
The funniest thing is, though, we've got Joe Fest in 4 weeks, and because of the bloody you lot and Scuba, I found all my gems already, right? So Scuba found me some awesome antique, vintage gem stuff. And then yesterday he was in there and I was looking for a box to Pee-wee and he found one in his antique box. So I bought that for me. So I don't know what to buy at Joe Fest. I'm going to be all over the place.
That's kind of why I am. Joe Fest is like, I don't know. I have a small list, but it's like, what do you get?
I have a list. I wanted a Flint to go with that car back Andy got me, the vintage G.I. Joe, and Pete found that, so I don't have to buy that.
Yeah.
So, but is there anything you're actually looking for at Joe Fest? Is there something specifically in mind you think this is what I want?
I've got a few things. I mean, it's a lot of odds and ends stuff. I'm actually really looking forward to picking up what I bought from the auction earlier a few weeks ago from Super awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Andy's son opened that.
Yeah.
It just made me laugh, right? Because I saw your son open it and I thought, has he done that? So he done.
I know, that was awesome. Yeah.
So everyone's like, Andy, what you doing? You know what I mean? Oh, brilliant. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I got a lot of little stuff. Maybe some Battlestar Galactica figures.
Oh, nice.
Buck Rogers stuff, maybe. I want to try to find some good shrouds for the G.I. Joe whale.
Shrouds? What's that? Shrouds
on the back, the fans.
Yeah.
The shrouds that go, yeah, for the fans are always broken.
The lever.
The lever, yeah. Always look out for Adventure People stuff. Little things. I got to get some Droid Factory parts. Some Star Wars stuff.
Sorry, my phone was ringing.
Oh, don't do that.
It wasn't me.
Usually Andy. Last week I was doing this last week and Andy phoned. I was checking if it was Andy Laria. What are you looking for, Andrew? Because last year you were looking for Star Wars and you
bought G.I. Joe.
Yeah, you bought everything else over there.
Yeah, I am. Well, actually, if I can find a nice Transformer Sideswipe, I think I'd grab it. Because that was the one.
Was that the red one or the yellow one?
It was the red one, the red Lamborghini.
Yeah, I remember that.
We didn't have a lot of Transformers. That's not something that me and my brothers really got into much, but I did have that one. Like each of us had one Transformer. It was kind of like one of those things, just because they were popular. And mine was Sideswipe, and he got beat to heck and thrown away, or something happened to him. I don't know, but I no longer have him. And I have this little stash of things where I just have some one-offs. I have one He-Man. Yep. I have one Tron. Yeah, I want to get the one Transformer Sideswipe. Just ones that were kind of like mine or my favorites from when I was a kid. So
yeah, it's nice to do. Have little things. It's like you had the Fisher Price stuff. And I remember the rover, and I remember the and last year at Joe Fish, you gave me the astronaut. But I'm not going to start collecting adventure people. But I know what you mean, Andy. It's nice to have
got a few adventure people I'm bringing for you here, Andy, or for Shabby.
Oh. Keith Knight says, "Good evening, chaps. Evening, chaps." APC says, "Evening all. Can't watch a live tonight, but I'll definitely I will catch up tomorrow. I promise I'll catch up tomorrow."
You definitely want to do that.
Yeah, you definitely want to do it. Fuller's Figure says, "I'm watching live, so I don't have to watch the replay." Adam, do you see the pictures of BTR toy overdose? Adam, Martin,
that was cool. Those photos are great.
Yeah,
they looks like they had a great time. He said it was good. He said their thing. Well, they said they were going to go next year. So, hi, Palps, nice to see you, buddy. Wow, loads of people here. Hello, Miriam. Did you see what is it, Gerard's dinner today that Miriam made him? Did you see that today?
No.
In the Autobots group. Tell you what,
that Autobots group is going nonstop. So I
know. Hard to keep up.
I try and check in once a day.
Gap's here, TJC's here. Hey, Gap. We played Battlefront yesterday on TJC's. We streamed it. Some of the language I thought, I haven't aimed this at kids. Outside comes on straight away. Oh, super. Let's see who else is here before we get on with it. Sunstreaker was the yellow Lamborghini. Sunstreaker, yeah. Sideswipe, Sunstreaker. Chasing 80s toys. You might know these guys. Good evening, everyone on the screen and in the chat. Hi, Chris. Nice to see you, buddy. Our size here. Someone we might know is here. Our Gary Moore.
Gary
Moore will be on next week, so it'll be nice to see what he shows next week.
Seeing Gary soon.
Let's have a look. Oh, so Chris has made a video of that Amsterdam thing, so I'll definitely watch that. Tip of the chat to all in the gap. You guys were hilarious on stream. Oh, brilliant. I haven't played it for ages. I think I got like one kill, if that. Lady Steph's here. Hi, Steph.
Hey.
Jeff, you would love it at Toy Zone. Cool heel figure, complete £30, and even a Steel Brigade figure, £30. What's Cole heel figure? What's that?
Keel Hall.
He's the isn't he the captain of the USS Flag?
Oh, right. Could you only get that figure with the flag then?
Yeah, I think that's him. But yeah,
who's the whale driver?
Is he what?
Who's the whale driver?
The whale driver is the guy with the he's the Coast Guard guy with the ball cap and the
Red Sox hat. But what's his name?
Yeah, I can't remember his name right off the top of my head.
Oh, I know, it's Cutter.
I've been out of Joe's a little bit lately.
Look at this! I'm telling you two in the name of G.I. Joe's.
I know.
I've kind of been out of Joe's. I went to Joe Fest the last 4 years, and the last 2 years, I don't know if I've bought a G.I. Joe there.
You were after that. I remember a couple of years back. You were after that Japan one, and it was
the Takara stuff is actually really dang cool, and I should have bought that Takara Baroness when I saw it, and I didn't. And I hummed and hawed, and by the end of it, I kicked myself because it was already gone.
Nema Studios have an awesome line of Star Wars adventure people.
What?
Right. Awesome. Jeff is correct. Captain of the Flag. There you go.
Nice.
Normally really expensive.
Yeah.
Talking about collections and toys. So let me ask you, our Des brought this up the first time we did this episode, and he turned around and said, the thing about a top 5 Shabby Plus, and I know I'll mention, is you could come on the show again and your top 5 would be completely different.
Oh, yeah.
So my question for you two is this: how easy was it to come up with your top 5 plus your honorable?
I don't think I still have one.
Well,
I know. My workaround is that I'm going to have 2 honorable mentions. So
2,
yeah.
I
have like top 5 little groups, and within each group there may be like 1 or 2 things.
I could do a top 5 posters that I have, and
we'll do that. We'll do that one night. We'll do top 5 posters. How did you come? All right. Well, let me ask you a question. How did you come to your top 5 tonight? Then how did you come up with this one?
I could do a top 5 Scotch. I'm okay with that.
Top 5 Scotch. Yeah.
I landed on my top 5 just based off of what my collection is now. Over the years, now I'm probably like a lot of you guys, where I've collected a lot of things. I just wrote some things down that I've collected over the years that I may or may not still be collecting, but Volkswagen memorabilia.
Because you sold your Volkswagen?
Yes, but even before then, I had stuff. It was anyway.
Did you wear the chain like the Beastie Boys with the Volkswagen thing on it?
Like Flavor Flav? Yeah.
And Washington like that. Yeah.
There you go.
Vinyl records.
Oh yeah, you're good at those.
Have quite a few of those. I collected G.I. Joe for a long time. As big as this Star Wars room is, I could have packed it full of G.I. Joe stuff at one time in my life.
And now you have none now.
Yeah. Oops, I went blurry. Yeah, I sold all of my G.I. Joe stuff except for 2 books.
Wow.
Why? I mean, behind the scenes, I've heard why, but what? I mean, this is a childhood thing for you, and I noticed a couple of days ago when Scuba was at that thing, you said I'd love to get back in. Why did you sell it all? Is it just something you just thought, I just want to start again, or
priority shift?
Focus.
I got a really good dollar amount for the stuff that I had, and I sold half of it to a guy in town, so I could go. I mean, he's got a G.I. Joe room that's pretty spectacular, so I mean, I could go see it still in somebody else's collection. It was just time. I don't know how else to describe it. It was just time.
A few people have said that, and I've just not got that yet. So in other words, what I'm saying is, you're not wrong by saying that. A few people in our collective, it's just time for me to shift that and start to something else and so forth. Do you know what I mean? It's funny that people go through. Have you ever done that? You go through it as well, though, Jeffers. You went through it a couple of weeks back, like, oh, I'll change this and I might change.
Yeah, I do, because I mean, I do so much, not so much, when I make it sound like I'm everywhere, but I do a lot of stuff besides just the toy stuff. I mean, comic books and books, but I'm also into watches and pens, because I draw a lot, so I'm a kind of a pen snob, and I guess, for want of a better word, guns, some gun stuff, because I grew up in a hick state in Idaho, and I grew up hunting when I was a kid, and so I've always been. In fact, I'll show one or two of those today, as because I've got family heirloom stuff. But so that kind of stuff has always been ingrained in what I do, and it's just that collecting gene kind of spills over into some of those other items, especially the first edition books. I absolutely love that stuff, and the pens. I wish I had the money to be a high-end watch collector. I'm not, and I can't, so I don't do that. But I do what I can. So I didn't bring any of those out, but but the toy stuff,
like a Swatch watch.
Yeah, no,
the big ones that are on your wall. Do you remember?
That? It's like I've thought about selling all my army buildings to either buy a vinyl Cape Jawa or an Omega Speedmaster. So it's like, what the hell do I do?
Exactly. Yeah. That's what Sai always says.
I know. Sai and I talk about the watch stuff every once in a while. It's a whole another rabbit hole that's easy to go down. But oh my God, I mean, I've had a watch on my wrist that was an $85,000 watch, and it's just that I've tried on at a store and pretended like I was going to buy it, and so obviously I can't. So. Wow. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
I will try it out.
And Scotch. I could get into totally collecting whiskeys and scotches.
See, I've never been a fan of whiskey or Scotch. Me, I don't. The taste kills me, so I'm never. Said I wrote my top 5 weeks ago, and it's undergone several changes. Yeah, I can imagine that. Andy, did you see the posters I posted in the group that you could get at Toy Zone? Star Wars original ones, Dutch versions. It was all mental stuff.
Yeah. Well, and like Andy's always gotten me interested in the poster stuff. I could totally get into posters. I love those because it's artwork.
Just hand them over, Jeff. Just hand them over.
I've already done that once.
Shabby, how about a top 5 gem doll? Well, the thing is, Scuba's got me, like I said, some vintage ones that he's gifted to me at Joe Fest, and I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, because if I get them and I think they're awesome, I'm just going to think, I'm going to have to get. But they're so expensive. It's ridiculous.
Oh, I know. Well, I mean, I've got the motorcycles out in the garage. It's like the motorcycle stuff. I sold my 1957 Gold Star, BSA Gold Star, to fund buying this Star Wars collection. It's just like, where do you put your priorities?
Yeah, but it's nice to see, because VTR also did that. So sorry, Andy. When VTR was on, he was showing other things other than it's what's you collected what you really like. He showed that BMX that he restored with his dad, and it was absolutely brilliant. So I have eaten that, by the way. What were we going to say, Andy?
Well, I was going to say, like, this kind of goes to my love of art too, and albums at the same time. Like for the really cool album covers, I'd put them in frames, and like this Buddy Miles, them changes. Like I don't know what you think is awesome, but I think that cover is awesome.
It's got such attitude,
and it's hanging in my house. I collect Lego still a little bit.
I never got into Lego,
and that goes back to childhood. And my son loves Lego too. I think at one time I had over 250 U2 albums. That I got into that for a little bit. Still haven't found what I'm looking for though. And then this is kind of an obscure one, just to local, but I have a collection of local vintage sports jerseys from high schools around where I live.
Okay, I did that with football shirts. I've got a collection of football shirts from that. Yeah,
that's cool, Andy. That's really cool.
This is my grandpa's football jersey from 1942.
That's awesome.
And it's a long sleeve. It's from R.A. Long High School. And I have my dad's and I have mine as well.
I love that.
And then I just got a bunch of other like local sports jerseys from basketball and track and field and other football jerseys and youth sports. And it just,
and that's so specific, but so you, that's amazing.
Yeah. And so and then for a while I would collect and restore vintage turntable consoles, like from the 70s, that are like the big furniture pieces. I did that for a little while. Shabby, you would appreciate that.
I love that sort of stuff. Yeah,
furniture reconditioning business. But I've collected as an adult a lot of different things, and but it's just like anybody, it's things that you love and has an influence on you. I got a lot of music and sports and
Matchbox Super Kings. I could totally do tons of Matchbox Super King stuff. I love it.
Sad news of a story of a driver. Yeah, we saw that news this morning, and we just like to send off. I hope everybody's all right. It's terrible, if you know what's happened. So wishing everybody all the best. You know what I mean? I'm not a Liverpool supporter, but I am a human being, so I hope everybody's fine and everybody's all right. I really do. Jeff, show us that Matchbox right there you've got, buddy.
I mean, the Super King stuff is so cool.
It's the condition of that, Jeffers.
Oh, I know. It's amazing. I don't have the car that went in it, but it doesn't matter. And it's just like, I don't know. I just love the Matchbox stuff. And I know over in the UK, the Matchbox stuff is everywhere, but this is super hard to find over here. And I found this on eBay, and I got a good price for it for here. But I could dive into Hot Wheels and Matchbox stuff super easy. And there's a local club that does a die-cast toy show, like 3 or 4 times a year. And I go just to see, because a buddy of mine does a booth there, and I go just to see what they have. And I'll just try to pick up things that I had when I was a kid. And so like I picked this up the last show, the Porsche.
Jazz.
Yeah. So I just every once in a while I'll try to get some of this stuff, but I'm restraining from trying to dive into this stuff wholeheartedly. It's just crazy.
Terrible trouble to have, Jeff.
Oh, I know. It's like this scratch and this itch that we all have. It's like, how do you do it?
I really like to get my collection of Star Wars movies. Yeah, Matt's collection's got a good collection of them. But your posters and your stuff, as well as your vinyls, Andrew, does it have to be vintage? So, or are you looking for, like, because I know vinyls a resurgence, and vinyl's been coming back, and even my daughter at 18 is buying vinyls, and she got into it. But for us lot and for your age group, are you?
No, I still get new ones that come out too of bands that I like. So no, it started with vintage because when I started collecting them, that's about all that was out at the time.
Yeah.
But now, like, you go into any Target and they have an album section in it, and and even the vintage, there's a vintage record store in town, and they have a section of new releases, and so No, it's not limited to just old stuff. It's new stuff too. I get a lot of like the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack, which is like a compilation of a lot of music and things like that. And that's, it's old music, but it's on a new album. And I do that kind of stuff too. Soundtrack albums are fun because they're kind of a mishmash.
Compilation. Yeah.
Well, it works as well as the same as Retro Toys. But I was in Target a couple of weeks back, and I saw the Thriller album, and it had a big sticker on it saying, the world's greatest ever best-selling album, whatever. And it was $30. But if you're buying that original one, you're looking at over $100, aren't you? So I suppose it's nice for people to get the old school stuff, but in the new releases, if you will, because the album cover's the same. It's
like the retro line for the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, my issue with posters is that they need to be displayed, says Howard Des, but they take up too much room.
I agree, Des. I totally agree. Des, I agree. And when you have a wife that doesn't allow you to do that,
I don't have that problem.
Not yet.
You will.
Not yet. You don't.
It's just all in one room, so it's. I do have a lot of wall space dedicated to it, but it's just in one room. So
you will. Thank you, TJC. That's awesome of you. Epic Badger R. Jesse says, "I'm adding to my Kaiju and Monster poster collection." Yeah, he was showing them. Did you see?
That's
Jesse's?
Cool.
Yeah, he showed. They were really cool. That's a great way to spice up unused wall space. Yeah,
that's a whole different avenue of collecting the Japanese stuff and the kaiju stuff that could be just amazing.
An Irishman asks you two, why?
Yeah, he gives me crap about that all the time.
Well, he's got a point. What is it about you two?
I love U2. I've seen him twice in concert.
I like the music. I don't mind U2's music. I just don't. It always add the thing to me where you have to like them. It's like if you don't like it, I know, but every time you say something it's like when we were all kids in England, you say, "Do you like football?" And no, I don't really like football. They always looked at you like you were weird. You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with it? And it's like that. It's like, so if I say, I don't mind U2, whatever, people look at me as if to say, why? I don't get what it is. George says, "Hi guys, don't forget to hit the mute button." Thank you, George. Connor, I have a collection of 150 Irish Spring soaps. Very nice. Thank you very much.
Why?
U2 is Martin's favorite band. Oh, there you are. There you go. Yeah. What is this unused wall space you can think of? You went a bit crazy with posters, didn't you, Andrew? I mean, you went you went all out for them, didn't you? Were they easy to find, or did you enjoy the hunt of finding them?
I don't know what you can see here, but this
even bigger.
That black background is looking so good with all that.
I mean,
where's that certain Star Wars poster at?
Let's see. I'm getting my head out of the way. It's right over. Right there.
Oh, there it is. There it is. I see it.
Oops, I'm going the wrong way.
And down.
Just my revenge poster, which is pretty sweet.
That is sweet.
And then, I mean, it goes 360 around here, but that's all I'll show for right now.
That's sweet.
With you guys.
You have an amazing poster collection, that is for sure.
Biker Scout says, "Evening, lads. What an amazing weekend. Picked up the vintage Darth Vader TIE Fighter for £15, which is about $22, fellas. And an Aberdeen Football Club winning Scottish Cup." Yeah, they did.
That's a hell of a pickup. That is a hell of a pickup.
He's had a good weekend down Dario in Scotland. Look at that. His team won the cup. And Darth Vader, how much is a Darth Vader? And it was a good condition too. I don't know whether you saw it in the group or not, lads. It was a really nice one he got. It was.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but yeah, a good one's about $60-$70.
Jeff, let me look at my childhood Matchbox cars. If I have any doubles, you can have them, dude.
He's a saint.
Good old John's here. Wow, it's nearly 50 already, you lads. We're doing well. Jeff Barker says you're a saint. How did you do that, Jeff? I'll take a look over the weekend. Vinyl records are the only things keeping HMV afloat at the moment. HMV used to be it was famous for records when we were kids, and then obviously when records died out, I thought they would go out of business, but apparently they started to do toys and stuff like that, I think, Kieran, as well, didn't they? And they always did T-shirts, that kind of thing. So I'm trying to think of what over here would be same as HMV. I don't know. What Scott Menzies? Did you ever have Scott Menzies over here? Something like that? I'm one of the weirdos that collects vinyl and only vintage. I don't even have a record player. I know. Do you play your records? Or do you do it when you both get old albums? Do you play them? You do.
Absolutely.
I don't have old albums. I don't collect vinyl.
Shabby, I take my stuff out of the box. I open up packages. I play old albums.
He's a maverick.
That's what I do.
Charity shops or thrift shops, lads, used to be a gold mine for vintage vinyl. Sadly, they know the prices are shocking. I've noticed that myself a few times as well with things. You know what I mean? You used to be a time a thrift shop, you'd just give it away, wouldn't they, really? But now it's all gone up because the way toy collecting's gone and the way pop culture is.
Around me, if you're dedicated and want to check, if you want to check once a week or so, you can find some deals still.
Yeah, like Craigslist or
is Craigslist still going? I've not been on Craigslist for donkey's years.
Yeah, Facebook Marketplace, but actually the thrift stores around here, you can make the rounds on a Saturday, and you can every once in a while you'll find some good stuff.
Stu's here. Matt's Collection says no one actually likes you two. It's just that everyone thinks everyone else likes them. That's the way I look at it.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
It's weird how many US people love you too, but they are quite unliked. Isn't it funny that? You know, yeah. Like I said, I do like the music. I don't mind it, but agreed. We would love to put up posters, but shelves take up most of the wall space. There's a fellow I've seen on Instagram that puts a poster up on a shelf underneath it and represents that poster. So he'll put a Godzilla, Jaws. That's pretty cool.
Oh, he rotates them?
No, yeah, well, it might be easier to do because he puts a shelf underneath it with the poster on it.
Oh,
so
okay.
It looks like the poster itself has become a shelf, if you will. And that's a good idea to do. Let's have a look. Stu, we've got any duplicates. My favorite is the Empire Strikes Back movie poster. Do you have a favorite movie poster?
Yeah, it's in one of them's in my top 5.
Right, well, let's wait for you. What about you, Jeffers? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I sent it to Andy. Oh. I do love that one. That one right there. I do love that one still. Oh, you're blurry.
The camera's weird now.
I kind of want to get another one of those.
So you can sell it to me? Why?
Yeah, I sell it to you. They are so cool, but I don't have any place to put it. That's the thing. It's like I could get into movie posters so easily. Actually, I like the Indiana Jones. Anything that was Drew Struzan painted when I was a kid was amazing. He's got some comic book covers that I absolutely love. Super Cops is one of my all-time favorite comic book covers. Horrible comic, but the cover is amazing because it's Drew Struzan, and some of his stuff. I could totally get into that, but the early Star Wars stuff, obviously. Some of the horizontal Japanese ones are really. Andy, you put one in one of our chats a while back that was absolutely phenomenal, where the Falcon's very elongated.
Yeah,
I absolutely love. I would love to find a copy of that to try to buy. In fact, that I really highly doubt we'll see anything like that in Joe Fest, but I'm going to keep my eye open for it.
Yeah.
I think if I had to do posters, I'd do Roger Moore Bond posters. Moonraker, Octopus.
That's a good idea.
You know, he was my favorite Bond as a kid, and I always liked the artwork. And then the Moonraker one was good. The Octopusy one was good. So if I ever had to do it, I don't think I would, but if I ever did, that's what I'd do. I like the old knockoff KO posters from Poland and Russia that Andy has. Georgie says hello. Hi, Georgie. Lovely to see you all. Hi, all in the chat. It's nice to see you too, Georgie. And Stu says Joshua Tree is my favorite U2 album. How did we get onto U2?
I agree, Stu. I agree.
Stu, you waffle on about having no space yet buying multiples of so many figs. He does do that. Des T says the Joshua Tree and Rattlin' Hum are awesome albums. Everything else after that is a bit. I don't even know how many albums they've done. I will be photographing my mate's mum's vinyl next week. Thank God you wrote vinyl there. So you can see if there's anything you want.
I had a Laserdisc collection for a while too. I forgot.
Spread that out though. A few lads in our community got some of those Laserdiscs. You know,
set them out.
Jeff has so many treasures, like that old train set under the bed.
I forgot about that one. I got to get that one fixed one of these days.
That was awesome. I loved that.
You know what? I need to get that back out and get that working again.
I've talked with a few of the lads on this stream, and I've said it's funny that I have such a love and affection for old train sets, but never had them.
I know.
I think I have 2 that I've put away, you know, that I found at a thrift shop, but I've never. And I always have a train set for Christmas, always, you know, going around the tree, or whatever. But it's funny that looking, VTR show does old trains last time he was on it, and all the ones that he got with there was his dad's, and then he sees Scuba's dad with his layout. Did you ever get into trains as kids? Was a train thing big for you too? No, it wasn't for me.
My dad had his from when he was a kid, and we'd put it around the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
It was an old Lionel train set, but no, that was. I think he tried to get us into it a little bit. I remember getting a locomotive, but it just never really stuck.
No,
it was like that seemed like more like my dad's age group kind of a collection.
Yep. Yeah,
well, it's so funny to say that everybody says that. It's usually the generation after, before us, if you will, that says things. What are we going to say, Jeff?
Just that one I did the video with was the only one I've ever had, or our family never had it. My dad never collected anything. Only thing he ever really had, he was a truck driver, so he had some CB radios, and that was about it. Where does
the Hess truck come from? Ever since I've been in the States, I always see Hess trucks for sale or vintage Hess trucks. And I asked a couple of people before and they didn't know. Do you know what the Hess is? Hess like an old gas station or something like that?
Hess, I don't know what that is.
HESS, and it's a white truck, and they do loads of trucks. It's always a toy I see in America, and it always has Hess written on the side of it. See, nobody knows. I always see.
I've never heard of that.
It's funny that I'll have to find out what that definitely.
I've got a few old trucks from my dad that are at his house still.
Yeah,
that are old, like the big metal aluminum trucks that are like this big. I've got a couple of those, but I don't know if those are Hess or not.
Do you know what this is? The Empire Strikes Back UK quad. Underground is a grey. What's that, Andy?
If I remember correctly, it's more of a horizontal Empire Strikes Back poster. The quads were always from the UK, and they're a little bit different size. And
yeah, the other posters are. Yeah, it was a nightmare trying to find out the size for a retro for the Red 5 Designs poster. There's nothing fitted. You know what I mean? So it's still a bit bigger now.
I think
I love that comment.
A2 sized. Which, by the way, if anybody needs a Red 5 Jabba's Palace poster or a Max Rebo band poster, I've got a few extras.
Yeah, that's all. I'll frame man with that one. I loved that. Bono started slow clapping at a concert in Scotland, and he said, "Every time I clap my hands, a child in Africa dies. Someone in the audience shouts, 'Stop doing it, then, you evil bastard.'" Nice, Delvian. Nice. And with ETR, I'd like an Enter the Dragon poster. Yeah, I know that's one of our size favourite. James Bond posters are frequently available, says Gary Moore, on heritage auctions.
Yeah. Heritage is, you think heritage or Hakes and stuff, you think really high end, but if you watch them on a weekly basis, there's actually some good deals on there sometimes. That, for some Graily type stuff, but they've got some good stuff on there every once in a while. You can pick up some decent prices.
They sold a different version of trucks every year for Christmas. So let's have a look. Hess are gasoline trucks. That's what they are. Yeah. So in other words, Hess stations up northeast in the US, and they would put out trucks every Christmas. My dad used to collect them. My kids got a few of them when they were younger, and a few of my dad's. It's funny. I always see them everywhere I go, like either flea markets or this Hess trucks. Yeah, it
must be definitely an East Coast thing.
There you go. It's the American Energy Company Corporation. That's probably why you didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So look, I need a Max Rebo band poster. Says G-Force, and he says I still got a couple of movie posters. They are. So George has got some too. Well, anyway, we're here, lads, to see your top 5. But before we get to your top 5, let's do honourable mentions. So Jeffers, I've got you up there. So Jeff, what?
Wait a minute. You have one.
You can have as many as you like. You can have 2 if you like. If you've got more than that, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got just a grouping of stuff here, so right. I don't know. I'm going to kind of run through things kind of quick then.
So this is your honorable mentions, Jeffers. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So one of my honorable mentions is pens. I'm into pens, writing pens and drawing pens. So especially Rotring pens, Rotring technical pens. And they I've used them since high school for technical illustrations as well as ballpoint pens. So there's the Lava ballpoint, the 800 series, more 800 series, but also the Mont Blancs. And so
Mont Blancs,
Mont Blancs, the 800 series, but Rotrines and Mont Blancs are my favorites, and also the Stedlers. And this is a Japanese only pen, and it's no longer made, and it's about a $300 pen.
Where did your love for pens come from, Jeff?
Where they come from?
Where did it come from? Your love for pens like this?
Because I draw with them, and so I kind of got snobbish about them when I was a kid. Like I need something that gives me an exact line weight, and a light exactly the type of way I need to draw. And so I had this set when I was young, and I couldn't find. I lost it when I was younger, and I found this on eBay about 2 years ago, and I picked it up, and it's different point sizes in the nibs, and so. You refill them with ink, and they're pressurized cartridges, and you can get them so they do a continuous line. Cy would know what I'm talking about.
What size is your nib?
So that's boring. I get it.
Not boring at all. It's not boring.
Let's see. So one of the other honorable. I'm going to try to keep my top 5 to toys. The other honorable mention is a rifle that was my father's. I do a lot of gun stuff, and I know the English guys are going to be like, "What the hell are you doing?" But this is a 1892 Winchester 25-20 rifle. That was my.
We all get a kick out because it looks like something John Wayne would have. So
well, that's the thing about this gun. This gun was made in probably about 1920.
Put the gun down, Jeff. Gary Moore.
What's Gary saying?
Says, put the gun down, Jeff. Put the gun down.
Gary. So this was my great grandfather's rifle, and we didn't know he had it. And then when he passed away in '75, it was down in the basement of my grandmother's house, their house, and she passed away in the early '90s. And when we cleaned out the house, this was behind the furnace in the basement.
Did it look like that as well? Because it looks relatively new.
Yeah. And so my dad gave this to me about 10 years ago and said, "You need to hang on to this." And so,
the English lads point that somewhere else.
I know. So it's hard to find ammo for it. I have a box of ammo that I tracked down. And
it would be about a time before a colonial would be bragging.
Exactly.
Your arms, brother.
Well, that's right. We got to keep you people away.
I mean, I'm not going to. And this is kind of personal, so you don't have to talk about it. Not, but I've seen a picture of your arsenal, Jeff, and it's not a place you want to rob, is Jeff. There's no chance.
No. So no, that is something that's a family heirloom, and so. I'm a big fan. I've put about 10 rounds through it myself, and it was a great grandfather's rifle, and so I had one other one that was I know the English guys will like that is an Enfield.
Now Enfield supplied the South during the Civil War, didn't they?
Right.
I'm sure they did. Yeah, it was.
No. So, but this is actually
the guns from the Civil War were supplied by Enfield. Was that not right? Am I wrong?
I don't know. This is actually an Indian-made Ishapur 308. So this was, but I've always been a huge Lee Enfield fan for rifles because of the movies, because of Zulu Dawn and all the Zulu, and so I picked this up about 10 years ago, and they're hard to find now, but back then they were like $300, and so I'm actually this thing is super accurate and really fun to shoot, and. So when
you shoot it, you go Zealous, thousands of them, just like Michael Caine, thousands of them.
So, anyways, that's my honorable mention. I live in Idaho, and in about 10 minutes away from me is desert area, and we go out in the desert and we go shooting a lot. So that's what I grew up doing.
Cool though to look at. I love the pew, Jude. My dad used to hunt rabbits as a child. And I couldn't love pews, but the police made him destroy them, and they were my dad's. Still had them down. Yeah, it's a difficult thing to have in where we're.
I know, and I was just watching some videos this morning about some of the high-end hunting shotguns in England, and I know it's tough to get them.
I said I had one of them. I blew the arse off of a Perry Fleetwood. You said that's a beautiful rifle. Been home about an hour. Oh, they are. Your posters made it. So VTR made it back from Amsterdam. I was thinking of that poster all day. I think that's a private conversation. Never try and break into Jeff's. No one wants to be poked in the eye with the next. History,
so the family history stuff, I want to show you the other one I showed Shabby earlier today.
Yeah. Let's have a look. That's what we thought at first, but I think we'll be all right. So the rifle's bigger than these.
Oh, I know, it's huge.
The toys gap, yeah. Hey, Martin, we're all good. You survived the journey home. Go on, Jeff, is what we're saying.
But yeah, no, I've got a safe out in the garage, a pretty big safe with a lot of guns that I've had for a long time. I used to do this before I got into toys, back into toys. Kind of did guns thing with some buddies for a while, and so
right, because I know it was used. Yeah, I read this thing somewhere. I don't
doubt it.
Going through immigration and so forth, you have to go through all the history of America and so. But I enjoyed it. I think I've talked about this about you two before. I thought, with it being a relatively new country, I thought the history is really impressive, and I remember something about the Enfield being over it.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, Lee Enfield as a company's been around for a long, long time. I mean, that Ishapur is actually Indian made, and that was made in 1967. That rifle. They changed the cartridge from the British cartridge to a 308. Which is this thing, and then the little lever action is this guy. So, bit of a difference in the two.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah.
And when you look at like the cop guns on the shows, they're little 9mm. That's what those are. So, they're small compared to what the rifles shoot. So,
I used to own a deactivated SMLE #1 Mark III from Australia and a Canadian Sten.
Yeah, that's Canadian Sten's a great gun, but the SMLE is an Enfield rifle also.
Very impressive, Jeffers. Right, Andrew Lemire, what is your honourable mention?
How many?
Just two.
Just two, right? Okay, just two.
So this was one of the first things I picked up when I started getting back into Star Wars. Clear up my camera here.
Wait a minute. How when you were out of Star Wars at one point?
Well. No, it was before I really got into it, I should say.
Okay.
This was right at the start. My camera's going wacky.
I love that.
So this is an Obi-Wan Kenobi rump muck.
What's happening to him? What's with his eyes?
These were all hand painted, so no two are exactly alike. And on the back, says "May the Force be with you," and underneath, these were among some of the first Star Wars merchandise.
1977. So who made it? Rumpf is that called?
Rumpf is the artist that created the cast for it. He's a ceramic artist, 3D artist, and shoot, I don't know if my camera's bugging out, but if you look at the eyes are painted a really light blue.
Yeah.
And I've had 3 over the years. I've always kept this one, but the other two, and they were, again, the beard and the eyes, and it was all painted a little bit differently. They came in a set of 3.
So they're hand painted.
Yeah. So this was.
See, that's cool. That.
Yeah, and it's got the same markings on the bottom. And then this is the one that George Lucas, this is what got him. George Lucas got one of these sent to him, and he's like, let's make a bunch of these. And he had this on his desk before the movies came out. And then they mass produced them. So,
yeah, Palp says here, Rumpf mugs are great. I have the Obi, the Chewie, and the Vader. It's the same as
you.
So
just those 3? Is it just those 3?
Just these 3, but this one's my favorite, and I've drank out of them. They're used, but they're in really good
ceramic,
shape.
Is it ceramic, Andy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are so cool.
Yeah, they are. They're unique. I'll definitely say that. Yeah.
So this was one of my honorable mentions. You can find them for around $50-$60, but there were a lot.
Are they dishwasher safe? Oh, Des wants to know. Are they dishwasher
they are not
safe?
dishwasher safe. No, they are not. And then my other honorable mention is kind of what I think for a lot of us got us into Star Wars.
Your camera's killing me.
I know. I don't know what is going on.
Can you not just press it and it sits? I'm not like, look, who am I? I'm no camera guy.
Be still.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
Is that right? What I just said? Did I do that right? Look at this. Oh no, never mind.
As soon as I move though. Here, maybe if I zoom back a little bit. If I do that, I wonder if that'll help. Okay, maybe this will.
Okay.
All right, but this is the greatest toy ever made, and it's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised no one's brought it up sooner.
No one has. Yeah.
It's the perfect vehicle / playset. It makes noises. You can fly it on your own, and it has playset capability inside. And this one here is complete and perfect. The condition is spectacular. I have loved this toy since I was very small.
Yeah.
It was the toy that everybody wanted and the toy that a lot of people got.
Yep.
And truly, it belongs in the conversation for the greatest toy ever made.
I totally agree, Andy. And you're
100%
absolutely right. It should have been brought up before this because I got mine here. Mine's perfect. It's actually my extra one I need to sell. So if anybody needs one, you let me know.
Okay.
And this is the box for it.
I need that box. I want that box.
The insert and the instructions and all of this. It's a perfect toy, man, and it came with a very cool box and the instructions and everything, and it's
Star Wars box is hard to find.
In good shape. They are definitely hard to find. But yeah,
Kevin says those mugs sell for £100 to £300 in the UK. Those mugs, wow.
So anyway, the Star Wars Millennium Falcon, honorable mention. I think for a lot of us, this was maybe one of our most played with toys when we were kids. So,
and if we didn't have it, it was our holy grail when we were kids.
Yeah. This was all the lucky kids got. One of these.
Yeah, mine's right there. Can you see it above my finger? I think the only person I know that doesn't have one or didn't have one was VTR. VTR never had which I found strange. I thought VTR would have had one, but no, he never had a Falcon. So
VTR, if you don't have one, you let me know.
But yeah, it's a perfect ship. That. Here we go. I've never felt so blind with Andy's camera. Says Gary. He's working fine now, though. He's working great now.
Yeah.
You selling it for $1, Jeff? Wow, they are.
Yeah, well, I've got two of them, so and they're both in perfect shape, and they're complete. And I need to get rid of one of them for space. But yeah,
I think the majority of us in the chat and watching are going to agree that the Falcon is one of the best. Well, Palatoy Falcon for us, but Kenner Falcon was. Yeah, I played with that thing for years. Do you know what I mean? It was just it was really well.
Yeah, but what about the Falcon?
They are. He says, awesome ship. No other words needed. Yeah. Travels with Jason. Jeff, I got 3 spare if you want 3 more.
Yeah.
And he taught us his degrees. Oh, they are. Martin never had, which I find surprising with his Star Wars collection.
Yeah, exactly.
He never had one when he was young. Adam says there are times, not often, I wish I was a few years older because I just didn't have any connection to the Falcon like others. It's a great item and a great toy, but I don't have one. I think it's one of those toys is why we still collect now as our age is things like the Falcon in it. It's so iconic. It's ridiculous. It really is. Yeah.
That's interesting, Adam.
And it has just a hideous electronic sound to it too.
Oh
yeah.
Is that an always mug?
For sale. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, of course.
That's awesome. I wish we had always around here.
Stuff cheap. For sale, 3-month contact palps. See all the Death Star 3. Brilliant. Yeah, we go. Yeah, look, vintage toy wish. I remember this. He never had a Falcon, still don't. Used to go around to his school friend who had a Star Wars area in his dad's loft. Wow, I would have thought that, who had a Falcon and loads of other stuff. Gary Moore never owned one. But
Really?
you have to like, wow, that's some of
Gary,
the
Gary, do you have one now? Yeah, Gary, do you have one now? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's really funny. I have the Micro Machine Squadron one, and I may have flown it around in my flat. That's brilliant. Same for me. It's a beauty and cool toy, says Chris, but I don't have that nostalgic connection to it. Wow.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's. I suppose it is almost for some kids, though. It's probably be the Flag or the Marauder. Some kids, it's going to be Castle Grayskull, that kind of thing. There we go.
Yep.
So nope, still don't have one. Our Smith Lord says no, didn't have one, but my brother had one.
Wow,
I never had one. I never had the vintage Falcon, but that is amazing. That is unbelievable. Wow, that has shocked me. That, to tell you the truth, all these big Star Wars fans have Star Wars channels never had a Falcon. That's amazing. I purchased the first 6 Star Wars figures when they were released back in the 70s and stopped. Never owned any of the vehicles that came after. I just moved on to Action Man, right? Had the Falcon, but I prefer the new version. See, I love that Legacy one. I think the Legacy one is
that scale up a little bit is actually pretty amazing.
It is beautiful, but I don't know. I think for love and if I had to pick one Falcon that was ever made, it'd probably be the first one. There's something about it in it. There really is. Yeah, a lot different. I've one. Yeah, exactly. I never too had a Falcon, said Palps. Yeah. We're all making it up now. We're old and shabby. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Well, awesome. So we've seen rifles, we've seen Falcons, we've seen mugs. Brilliant. Let's see what your number 5 is. Right, Andy. So I've got you big. So you'll be first. What is your number 5, Andrew Lemire?
Okay. Well, this I tried to, within my collection, the 5 things are different. Like different parts of my Star Wars collection. So I collect vintage Star Wars and posters. And in that, there is a little bit of variety. But this one had for a long time now. And not only is it something that I love, but my son loves as well. Hint, hint. And the only way to do it justice is to fly it across the screen.
And have it be out of focus. Oh, sweet. What the hell?
Blockade Runner. Tanty 4. Look at the size of it.
My freaking camera. What's going on? Let's scoot back there.
There you go. Perfect.
Look at that thing.
And that's Lego that made that.
Yeah, this is a
massive.
Ultimate Collector Series. There are no figures with this, but
it's just like the movie, Andy.
I know. But
wow.
Yeah, this thing is a beast, and it is beautiful. And
I never knew you had that.
Really fun. Well, this one sits in my son's room, so.
So Jason says he's after that one. Wow, that is huge. I agree, Stu. Look at the size of it. And what year was that? What year did that come out, Andrew?
Early 2000s, like 2008, 9, somewhere around there, I think.
It's amazing how close that is to the Space 1999 spaceship.
Lego makes some incredible stuff. Gary Moore says, wow, that is cool. It is cool.
Yeah. So,
Martin, hubba.
Yeah.
So size does matter. Yeah, in this circumstance, I think it does. That is immense in all seriousness. Yeah, the lads are loving that.
Yeah.
And it never came with any figures, so you can't open it up then. So it's not all.
Well, you can open it up, but no, it did not come with any figures.
Did it come with a PGM size?
Yeah, maybe. So, yeah, the Tulsa 4 Blockade Runner and the Ultimate Collector Series Lego.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
I didn't know they made one that big. That's amazing.
Yeah,
How
they
long
did.
did it? How
They
long did
came,
it take
they
to
came
make?
out with one a couple years ago, but
Yeah.
it's not this big.
How long does it take to make something like that? It'd take me about a month, I suppose. But how long
Oh,
would it?
yeah, this was a few days worth of building.
So, Andy, when you put those together like that, and you're going to keep it long term. Do you glue them together at all? I don't do Lego, so I don't know.
No, they don't glue them. Never glue them, ever,
Okay.
ever. But we just take care of them and hope nobody knocks them off a shelf. You know.
I guess that's true.
Joby says that's something special, isn't it, Delves?
So, did they do a Falcon one about that big too?
Well, yeah, he says the ultimate collector.
there you go.
RTJC saying is about £800 for Lego. Wow, man!
Wow.
That's expensive. How much was that, Andy? How much was that roughly?
Well, when it came out, I think it was around $250 or $300.
Oh wow! I can't
That
imagine
was
what
a long
it's worth
time
now.
ago. So I bought this secondhand for $300. It's worth more than that now, but anyway, I'm getting tired of holding it. It's heavy.
Yeah, don't chop it.
He's right.
Yeah. Unbelievable. That's awesome, Andy. Look, he came and put it down.
Yeah.
Gotta chop it. What's your number? What's your number 5, Jeffers?
Well, I'll start with one that most people already kind of know about, which is the collection I bought about a year ago from a coworker who I just randomly ran into on a live stream for work, a meeting about a project we were working on together. And he just happened to say, "Oh, I have Star Wars stuff too," because he saw my collection in the back. Turned out he had carded figures from when he was a kid that he bought. Yeah, exactly. Minigun. So all of these guys here, all those carded figures. There was 20 carded figures in total. All really pristine, all absolutely amazing quality, and things. All the first 20 figures made basically, except for Boba Fett.
For those that don't know as well, me and Jeff actually did a special live stream on this. So there's a live stream in my playlist. If you go to special live streams, you can see where me and Jeff went through all these. It's the story. It's like Gary and Andy's story.
Yeah.
These stories, how you found these were
just completely randomly come across them. A lot of them are unpunched, absolutely, and they're not brittle at all from age. They feel and look like they have come completely just straight off the rack or out of the box, because half of them have never been on the rack. So that's the rest of them back here in this collection here, and they've completely changed my mentality on how I collect things and what I look for in a collection now. They've actually taken the wind out of that FOMO feeling out of my, and I hate that term, but it's kind of true. They've kind of taken that and I agree, Gary, I need to get these graded. They've completely taken my want of collecting certain things. I know, Kieran, away. I bring those up because it has completely. I mainly bring them up because of the way it's affected me mentally, in good and bad. I've completely changed how I look at my collection and what I want to collect now. I don't have that.
You both right. I can only speak for myself. So I remember years ago going to that church fair. Everyone knows the story, and I found 11 of the last 17 in a church fair. And I was shaking. I was excited. But that's me finding stuff that cost me $2 each at a church fair. How did you two? What was your emotions and your reactions like coming across? Did you manage to keep cool? Because I can't. I get too excited, and
I mean, the first time I saw these. In the photo, the guy just sent me over our Teams chat for our project we were working on. He sent me a photo. He had them laid out on his back patio table, just on a wrought iron table, and it's just like, and just kind of thrown out there like, oh yeah, this is what I have. I'm like, put those away, take care of them. And it's just, and anyways, yeah, it took me, it took my breath away. It made me have goosebumps. It made me start scheming of how I can get these to pay for them. And Gary, and so I and this is what I sold my I had a vintage 1957 BSA Gold Star motorcycle that was at
Yeah.
it was at a buddy's shop that had been there for about 5 years, waiting to be restored, and we just never got to it. And I sold that to them, and that financed buying these. And so it's like I said, it's completely changed how I collect and what I want to collect, because I feel like I'm almost complete now.
What were your emotions like, Andy, when you and Gary came in? Did you manage to keep your emotions under control? Like, all right, let's, without trying to getting overboard and letting it take over, if you will.
Dave.
Yeah. There was, I got to be honest, there was a bit of intrepidation because we were spending a lot of money, and you just hope that once we got there, it was as cool as you saw in the photographs. And we got there, and it was, I can't speak for Gary, but I felt very kid-like. Like I couldn't wait to get into the next box and see what was
Christmas
in there.
morning. Yeah, that's the thing.
It was, and except when you pay a lot of money for your Christmas presents. But it was awesome because it was kind of it just kept on giving, because not only did we meet the guy who we bought them from and who we still keep in contact with. We're in a text group together. There's 4 of us, and we still talk,
That's cool.
Every other week or so. And so that's been fun. We've both, Gary and I, have kept a number of the things out of that. And some of the one-off things that are just like the stories that we've gotten to tell from distributing, like we've sold some things to people in the chat and you guys and stuff. It's the whole thing has just been so much fun. I'm not sure I'd do it again.
Really?
I can't speak for Gary. Gary's the one that's done most of the shipping and all that. He's really taken the lion's share of that, so I didn't even have to deal with that side of it.
Well, his wife has.
Yeah, Danielle has been a big help as well, and so like it was awesome. Like you said, like kind of got that shaky feeling, like, oh my gosh, there was definitely that feeling. But then it was also like, okay, we just spent all this money, and now what? Now what do we now? Now it's like, if we kept it all, that'd be one thing, but
right,
like some of the things we sold, and so anyway,
you gotta have a plan. You gotta have a plan.
We did, and I am so glad that I got to do that with Gary, because he was awesome and easy to work with, and
Gary's amazing.
And we're still Gary just sent some things off last weekend from that collection to be graded, and so it's still going. The story's not over with it, and so like the experience, the memories that we've got from it are really the coolest things. And we've got some really cool things that we can hold in our hands. But
that's my point, you see, because we usually watch these YouTube videos or so where someone found something in a loft or so, and it's pristine, but you two actually held it in hand. You two have actually seen this and gone to see it and seen stuff that's over 40 years old that's pristine and all that. So it must have been really, really hard to keep your emotions. I know it would have been for me.
The funny thing was, like, kind of before when you and I were talking about whether or not we were going to do it, he sends me a text and it just said, we kind of have to do this, don't we?
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, we kind of have to do this. Like, this is what, as a collector, you dream about.
Right.
And the stories, we all want.
I don't have the kind of money it takes to do the collection that the purchase that I was gonna for the collection I have here. I don't have that kind of random money laying around. I got lucky that I had a motorcycle to sell to finance that. But you hear about these things all the time, like in the car community. You hear about the Ferrari in the barn, and you stumble across it. And I just don't understand. But you're right. You have to do it when you come across this kind of stuff, because it's the kind of things you hear stories about and you don't think it's ever going to happen to you.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. The items I dropped off at CAS have never been seen by the owner that has the largest collection.
Gary needs to do the stream for that story right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be nice because we've got Gary on with Scuba Pete on the top 5.
That's right.
So I'm gonna ask Gary his version of this story too. So that'll be awesome as well. But yeah, I'm made up with stuff like that. And you are right. I think one of the things as being collectors now at our age is always the history and the stories that go with what we do. So when you two come up with stories like this, and Gary, you're like, man, this is what we all want. This is like our dream, innit, to find this.
It is.
You do it yourself. You go to these places. I just did it at the weekend, not under the scale that YouTube just done, but Jen had found a toy flea market and we were going somewhere else, and she said, have a look over there. Went over there, and I got loads of stuff I needed, but this guy had a brand new dragstore ripcord that you're looking online for $30-40, and he gave it because I bought $60 worth of everything else. And you're like, this is awesome. This is, I think, why we do it, innit? It's that you know, you always really expect it. Yeah. Surely Jeff could have sold his Better House handbag collection instead of his bike. Can you imagine? Oh, that would be absolutely brilliant.
Well, it's and that's the thing. It's like this. One of the things I treasure the collection but almost as much as the collection, I treasure the story about getting it and doing that live stream with you, Shabby, to tell everybody about it, because
it was great. Well, I'd like to redo it as well, because now my camera's better and this is better. Maybe we should redo that. We should revisit that. And
nobody wants to hear me. Everyone's sick of me talking about it.
Anyway, there's your number 4 through 5s. Let's get to your number 4s. Jeffrey, so I've got you big, so I'll start with you, Jeff. What's your number 4?
So I also, and I haven't done it very much lately in the last few years, but I used to collect a lot of first edition books, and 2 of the ones that are personal to me, one of them is, and it's a couple $100 book, nothing major, but Master and Commander, Patrick O'Brien. I'm sure you guys all remember the movie. But this book came out in 1969, and this is the first edition of it.
Is it the Russell Crowe movie?
Russell Crowe movie. It's my all-time. There's 20 books in the series.
Right.
Patrick O'Brien died in 1980 or something like that, and this series of books got me through a really hard time in my life when my mom was sick, and I was living in Seattle. And my folks live here in Idaho, and I was traveling back and forth a lot. And so when I was traveling, whether I was flying or if I was driving, it's like a 9-hour drive. And sometimes I would have to come home really quick, and I would drive. And so I would throw this on, either audiobook or reading on the plane. And this series, over the years, I started this series about a month before my mom got sick.
Right.
And then she got sick, and about a year later, she passed away. And through that year, I read this series while I was traveling back and forth. And whenever I needed to get away mentally and kind of release, some of that tension, this was the place I went. And so this, to me, will always be amazing. And I've read the series, the whole series, a couple times since then.
So it's a continuation. All 20 books is a continuation of the story.
Yep, Stephen Maturin is one of and Jack Aubrey are the 2 main protagonists, and they're absolutely amazing. The movie's amazing. If you get a chance to, anybody watch the movie, absolutely amazing.
I've seen that.
And then the other book in the series is my first edition Dune. Yeah, that is signed by Frank Herbert.
Wow.
And so I've had this for 20 years, and I bought this in Portland, Oregon, at Powell's bookstore at the Rare Book Room. And I love this. This is my all-time favorite series. I've read this book probably 8 or 9 times since I was a kid. And yeah, it's absolutely an amazing book. I don't know if you guys have probably all seen the TV show on HBO as well as the movies. The movies are well done. I still love the Dino De Laurentiis movies from the 80s. As cheesy and as bad as they are, they're still absolutely amazing. But first edition books are some of my favorite things. I've got a couple Stephen King ones. I've got all the first, and and you English guys are going to love this. I love to collect English first editions because those are the ones that are usually released first. So like I've got all the a lot of Fire and Ice series, the George R. Martin books. Geez, I can't remember what they're called. Anyways, HBO series was made off of them. So I've got all those in English first editions. Game of Thrones, that whole thing. Those are big and a lot of different series. But yeah, so
thanks for going highbrow, Jeff. We didn't expect that.
That is true. So I don't know how many. I know Chris and I, Chasing 80s. We need to do a live stream or just at least a chat about first edition books because I know he's really into books too. I try to read about an hour a night, anyways, and I fail miserably sometimes, but always got a series going. I've
always been a book reader, so I agree.
Yeah.
Were you, Andy? Was there any certain books you loved reading and collected or anything? Or
not collecting, although at one point I think I had the first 60 or 65 Hardy Boys books.
Nice.
In the blueback bindings. And when I got into middle school, so like around grade 6, I just charged right through those books. I loved them, and they're still sentimental. And those books, have been around for quite a while. When I got into college, that's when I found The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings and Silmarillion and all of those books.
Oh yeah.
And I still have a love for those, as well as C.S. Lewis books. And
yeah.
so,
yeah.
And not just like the Chronicles of Narnia, but all of his apologetics books as well. And so I mean, outside of those would be the main ones, I guess, that have kind of stuck with me. I know we read The Outsiders when I was
oh yeah.
Like they still do that. That's funny you should mention that, Andy, because our Lucy's 15, 14, and she read The Outsiders at school, and I thought
it's still required reading. Yeah,
it is required reading.
It was a good book. Yeah, it has left an impression on me. So I haven't ever been a big reader, but when I do read something, I tend to it sticks with me. So
when I do read.
Yeah.
Learning tonight that Jeff smokes the finest of cigars and drinks the finest whiskeys.
I don't know about that, Dave, but yeah.
Ricardo says, I have the complete June book series, but that first edition is amazing. Signed as well, Ricardo. You can't go wrong.
Signed. It's a validated sign.
So John's here. Dragon Lace series by Weiss and Hickman, best series ever.
One of my all-time favorite series ever is the Dragon Lace series. I love those so much.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, and the book stuff is, I can talk about the book stuff all day long, especially those.
I wish we did as well. I remember making a video years ago of my top 10 newish Star Wars books, and I loved that, but I never went back to them, but I loved the books. I love reading books.
The Star Wars books are the expanded universe stuff, Rogue Squadron, absolutely amazing books. I love all those. Andy,
what's your number 4, my friend?
Okay, well, this one needs just a hair of setup here.
And focus.
Oh my gosh. I
love giving you crap about that.
I know, just crap in general. Season 7 of the Clone Wars animated series, in my opinion, is among the best Star Wars out there. That's where the Bad Batch was introduced. The last 4 episodes of that season leading up to Order 66 are incredible. They are among my favorite of any Star Wars. And getting to see those last 4 episodes in a movie style version at Star Wars Celebration was absolutely incredible. And we got to watch it in one of the on the main stage. Actually, it was one of the panels. You got to watch the last 4 episodes in a movie style sequence. And it's truly great. And if you haven't watched it, you should. If you're a Star Wars fan, you should watch that. And even though it's cartoon, it's peak cinema, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yep.
Really good.
So I'm going to put a helmet on here for this next one. Okay.
Okay.
I got this helmet from my friend Josh. He got it for me.
Hey, Chris.
And can you hear me okay?
Yeah, are you fine?
Okay. He got this from a helmet maker in South America, actually in Peru, I believe. And it's awesome. It's one of the Ahsoka Trooper 501st helmets. And my number 4 is my only hot toy.
Can you see it?
We need the HOLOCHRONICLES music for this hot toy reveal. Oh yeah. No.
And it's one of my favorite Star Wars characters.
Rex.
He's a
Rex.
top 3. He's a top 3 character for me.
Yeah, he's awesome.
That is really cool.
So it came with both the helmets, did it?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's cool.
Again, this has to do with my love of season 7 and Captain Rex, and this kind of puts them together beautifully, in my opinion. And hot toys are awesome, and this is the only one that I have, and it's probably the only one I'll ever have. But this character, this Rex, man, he's always trying to do what's right, and I appreciate that about him. And he's a role model, and he's a badass too.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Is that? I can't really tell. Does that?
Yeah, he's yep, there, perfect. Yeah, look at that face on that.
It looks like Tamura Morrison.
Sure does.
And he's got both helmets here.
Absolutely brilliant.
My mask is steaming it. Holy cow.
Delvian says, I wish they would release it that way in cinemas again. So, yeah. And then Super Awesome says, I saw that also. Andy was sitting near me and we didn't even know at the time.
Yeah. But, yeah, the detail on the helmet is just.
I had to do a helmet also. I had to do a helmet also.
Alley marks and, you know, it's just, it's so good. It's so good.
So what was your main storyline then in Series 7? I like the Bad Batch one at the start, but I really like the ending. I thought the ending was perfect. The way she walked and she saw all the clone trooper helmets. Do you know what I mean? I thought that was perfect.
Yeah, it was like it made me feel feelings. Like a cartoon made me feel anxious and sad, and I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting it at all, and maybe that's why I liked it so much. It just took me by surprise. The mood change, the theme, the title card turned red, and anytime the title card turned red, you knew it was going to get real serious. And
did they also use the Star Wars intro, the actual John Williams music for it as well, didn't they?
I think they did the Lucasfilm.
They did, and I'm sure, did it not go into the Star Wars music for that one? If you or Martin, because I know Martin loves it too. If you remember that, let me know, because I'm sure it was usually the actual Star Wars music for it. But if they maybe not, but I thought they did. But yeah, it was superb. Really, really was. Did you ever watch it, Jeff? This is Series 7.
I watched parts. I've watched seasons. I never watched it in order, and I need to go back and do that. I really got into Rebels. And I absolutely love Rebels, and I've watched that a couple times in order. I need to watch that one though. I need to sit down and watch that whole series though.
Yeah, I agree. Superb. Right. Well, first of all, before we get to number 3, I'd like to think we've had over 40 to 50 people all night, so I appreciate that. Thank you all so much for coming in, Teen Andy and RJF. That's awesome. But let's get to number 3. Right, so number 3, Andy, I've got you big. So, Andy, what's your number 3, pal?
My number 3 is the poster over my shoulder here. It's the Italian Star Wars movie poster, and it is large. It's of an unusual size, like the rodents of unusual size. But let me see if I can zoom in on it.
Sorry.
And and raise the camera up just a scooch. But
perfect.
Just for scale.
God, it's huge. It is huge.
I'm 6 feet tall, so if that provides any scale. This is the poster that got me into collecting posters. I had a couple prior to getting this one, but once I got this, I was all in. And since then, I don't know how many posters I have, but this, like, obviously Luke and Leia, they don't look like how they actually look.
No.
But
Yeah.
But it's all there. It's of an unusual size. It's really big.
The coloring too.
It's made out of paper. It's just paper. It's printed on paper. That's not like the glossy poster or even some. I mean, I know that's not unusual for 1977, but like this was not made to last, and it's lasted. And I picked it up at a pawn shop for $200.
Oh wow.
And you know, they knew they had something kind of unique there, but they also knew that the market for people that would want something like that was probably not real big. And so we worked out a deal, and I picked it up. And then I had it professionally framed. I didn't want to mess around with that, and that was actually more expensive than the poster. So, but I've got.
I want to know how tall are Andy's walls? If that's 6 foot, there must be. Yeah.
In here, they're 10 feet.
10 feet, they are. Is that a Michelangelo poster? Says Pods.
Michelangelo.
Des T says, I love the scene where Luke wore a bright green shirt.
Yeah, and was jacked.
Yeah.
I think this is what the 1990s Power of the Force line was modeled
based on.
Yeah.
So, Andy, how rare is that?
It's fairly rare. Like,
yeah,
you might see one on eBay on occasion, but and because they're made just out of paper, like mine does have a couple of tears in it, but they were, again, I had it like professionally touched up so that you wouldn't be able to tell where the tears are if you walked up to it and looked at it close.
But because of that material, it's probably rare.
Yeah, it's Italian, it's paper, it's 45 years old or more than that, but it's 48 years old, and so like there's not a lot of them out there that are probably in as good a shape as mine happens to be. That's fingers crossed, I hope, because mine's in pretty good shape. And the
color vibrancy in yours are amazing.
I agree, Jeff. The color stuck to it. Yeah.
I have a real love of the foreign posters because they're not necessarily the ones that they're not the same as the ones that we got in the States. And so this is a perfect example of that. It's cartoonish, like traditional sci-fi was up to that point. You know, it was a little cartoonish, and even like going back to like Godzilla posters, they were a little bit cartoony, and King Kong and all that kind of stuff. This is kind of, well, even like the spaghetti westerns, you know, that were filmed in Italy, they kind of had the cartoony western, you know. Anyway, this just fits a genre of movie poster that you don't see anymore, and it's Star Wars, so I'm connected to it in that way. And
can I ask you a question? The artist that did that, so in other words, you got the artists stateside that did the same poster for each film in the trilogy. Did the same artists do it for Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, or did he change them?
They did change a bit. You do have some like Drew Struzan that has done multiple.
Yeah.
But as you know, movie poster artists tend to do a lot of movie posters. It's very rare. In my experience, like, do you see one guy do one movie poster and then that's all he's ever done? It's like they kind of get locked in and they do a few or they do a bunch. And but the artist that did this one never did any of the US release posters. So it's I can't find and get it. But oh, Papuza. His last name's Papuza.
Do you look up the artist as well to see what else he's done and what he's famous for and all that? Or is that what that artist is famous for? That Star Wars poster?
Well, I was gifted. It's not in this room at the moment, but I was gifted a Star Wars movie poster book from Johnny, Red 5 Johnny, and it talks about, you know, the posters and who made them and if they'd done others, but that's just to Star Wars, you know. So I know that this artist had done many movie posters, and I believe this is the only Star Wars one that he did.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
Wow.
Impressive, man. It really is impressive. Pod Racing Pop says, look up the Polish Willow poster. I'll say no more. Does anybody know about the
Polish, Russian,
Crazy stuff.
Slovakian, yeah, the Eastern European posters, especially for fantasy and sci-fi, are wild. I have a few Star Wars ones of those, and they are nuts. Some of them don't even have any connection to Star Wars. They're just weird.
They really couldn't because of the politics, right?
That was, partly, that was some of the reason. Yeah. They didn't
they
didn't want to glorify anything looking like rebellion or capitalism or democracy. So,
which is what that movie's basically about, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I never thought about it that way, Jeffers. That makes sense. To be fair, the original Star Wars movie poster is pretty cartoony as well, says Matt. TJC says, I have the Rancor Luke Skywalker poster that came with the Return of the Jedi Marvel comic. Andy, do you have that one?
No, I don't have that one.
There you go.
I have a couple of the I have some Marvel comic posters that aren't Star Wars, but I don't have that one. No.
Palp said that Star Wars poster is a Michelangelo Papuzzo poster.
Yeah, Michelangelo's his first name. Yep.
Matt Ferguson will be releasing his version of the Star Wars A New Hope poster for the 50th anniversary. Wow.
Awesome. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
That's a must-have for me.
Yeah, you and Jerry are big fans of his stuff.
Yep. Yeah, he's a modern poster artist that is awesome.
Rancor one. Yeah, a few people with his Rancor poster. Awesome, Andy. Right, Jeffers. What's your number 3, pal?
Yes, number 3.
3 is I'm going to go with my G.I. Joe stuff, and there's 2 things out of G.I. Joe that I'm going to show that are kind of, one's my most valuable piece for G.I. Joe, and then this is what got me into G.I. Joe. I bought this. This is my original G.I. Joe comic book that I bought when I was probably, I don't know, 13, 14. This came out in 1983, I think. This is G.I. Joe number 15. And it has 3 characters on the cover. Snake Eyes, Dr. Quinn, and Dr. Venom. 2 of the guys up top, they never made characters. They never made figures for, or they were never really in the cartoons. So I always gravitated more towards the comic books than I did the cartoons on TV, and got me into them. And I absolutely love these. And I know, Shabby, I've pushed you to read these, and they're so good, especially the first 50 issues.
They're a lot more adult, I think.
They are more adult. They're more adult oriented. They're more they're a little more serious. They're a little more violent. People actually do get killed in them, and I've got a complete run of the G.I. Joe comics. But this is what got me into comic books, and I've been a comic book collector consistently my whole life. I've not always been an action figure or toy collector. That's kind of reared its head back up after the last 5 or 6 years after taking a lot of time off. But I've always been a comic book collector, and this is my very first comic, and this is actually the first comic I ever bought, which I still have.
Did they come out like every bi-weekly when you
once a month or month or so,
right?
month and a half, kind of depends on the publishing part of it and stuff, but it was usually every month and a half. And there was a Kmart, not Kmart, Circle K, kind of a little grocery store bodega sort of place about a block away from our house growing up. I'd walk over to that on Wednesdays when they'd get new stuff in and see if they had, and I'd pick up new comic books, and started with G.I. Joe, got into X-Men, then got into Avengers, and was Marvel, all, from there on out. The other thing I'm going to add into this is when I got back into action figures, I really wanted to pick back up I had a lot of my Star Wars figures when I was a kid, but I wanted to get back into G.I. Joes. And so and one of the Joes I really wanted to collect was Cobra Commander. And so I picked up this is a Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander, and this was only offered in the Sears playset in 1982. And he's straight arm, and you can see because it looks like the top part of the logo looks like Mickey Mouse ears, so they call it Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander. So he's one of the more rare figures. I've got all the versions of Cobra Commander, but he's kind of my favorite one. And I picked him up about 5 years ago. And so he's in pristine condition, no paint wear on the mask or on the feet like there usually is, and absolutely love him. So he's kind of my cream of my crop for my G.I. Joe collection.
Very expensive as well. I remember watching Froggy Flips, and he found one, and it cost him, northwards for about $700. They weren't cheap.
I think they've come back down recently. So I think this one in a pristine this one is probably about $400 to $500 now.
Yeah.
I preferred reading the G.I. Joe comic.
I sold mine for $500 this last year.
Oh, did you? So they've kept their value, so maybe 5 or 6. But one thing I've got with him that is kind of nice is I forgot to grab. He's kind of got the full set. So I've got his file card also, and it's the uncut one, and I've got the and so you can always tell if it's the authentic one because it wasn't one that came out of a carded figure, so he didn't have a backer to it, so it's just the file card and then the mail away part of it too. So
wow,
I've got the full set for that goes with him. So
so he's like Joe's version of the Blue Snaggletooth, basically.
Yeah, it really is. So probably with the file cards and the mail away card and the figure as being as clean as he is, with the gun, and no dinging. The face mask is always kind of dinged up, and he's pristine. He might be $700 with all that.
Wow. Universal said I preferred reading. Sorry, Andy, what?
I was going to say that's a really good comparison with the Blue Snaggletooth because that also came in a play set with a couple other figures.
Yep.
And that version of that figure did not come out on the card. So yeah, and price wise they're comparable. And it's funny that they're blue and they have silver on them that are often chipped up.
Yeah,
right.
But
you got the straight arm.
It's a very fair comparison.
You've got the straight arm figure that came out right after him that has the normal logo, and then you've got the swivel arm figure that is so there's different variations and versions. So there's the 1.0, the 1.5, the 2.0, then there's the hooded Cobra Commander and the armor. So I like to get all the Cobra Commanders.
Universal says I preferred reading the G.I. Joe comics than watching the animated series. I loved it though. That animated series, I've got to admit, I was a massive fan of it.
It's great.
Looking at it through 40+ eyes, I loved it. I just thought it was great. Yes, Jess, I do love my Joe's comics. That's ace, dude.
Yeah.
There's a fellow around the corner in Sanford Antique Mall. It's got a whole comic box full of them, but they're pristine. And I wanted you to go through them, Jeff, because you were saying to me that they've reissued these comics, they've done these comics and all that sort of stuff.
And some issues are worth more than others. It's funny because you've got the G.I. Joe 21 is the silent issue, first appearance of Storm Shadow that's really expensive, and obviously G.I. Joe #1. But what's really going up now is the later run where they were tapering off and the print run was low. Like the last issue in the original Larry Hama run, G.I. Joe number 55 is really, really hard to find, and it's in really good condition, and it's just really crazy how hard it is, and with the prices going up on it.
Kieran says the British Action Force comic used to reprints from the American comic books, but with altered dialogues and titles. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of the Action Force ones. I love them.
Look at that. Oh, Jeff, F off with that. That's one of my grails right there. Awesome Mickey Mouse. That's brilliant. The Action Force comics will also have the original artwork in them as well. Wow. Okay. Yeah. About £500 they usually. Yeah, so that's roughly about the same, Adam. You're exactly right.
But what's really nice is these guys really, really add to it. And I think they really add a complete kind of a little package. I've got the same back card for the hooded Cobra Commander. So I try to get all the cards and stuff with them too.
The silent issue is on my list to get. I do have the full run of the Image set from 2003, which are hard. What's the silent issue?
So the silent issue is
hey, Jeff.
Yeah. The silent issue came out. It was the first appearance of Storm Shadow. That's the first time you got an inkling that Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes were kind of related. Let's see here. Hold on.
I love this. It's been brilliant. I love this. He's showing some awesome stuff, boys.
So it's this one here, silent issue,
right.
8.0, and they call it the silent issue because there's no dialogues in it. There's no thought bubbles. There's no dialogue bubbles through the whole thing. So it's all just stream of consciousness in panels, and so you get the full story by just looking at the panels. And it's genius how it's written, and it's not written. It's just artwork. And so, so it's first appearance of Storm Shadow, and at the very Scarlet is captured by Cobra. Snake Eyes goes in to rescue her. He rescues her at the very end. There's a whole tattoo thing that anyways. There you go. I just drew it on.
Did he show it on with his expensive?
Yeah, it's crazy, the comics though. I mean, like the final issue is really hard to find right now. And some of these ones, like Todd McFarlane did one that's the special that came out a few months after the final issue. It's G.I. Joe Special #1. That's a really hard one to find. And then then you got G.I. Joe #1 and stuff. So yeah, there's some real key issues that are in G.I. Joe that are really good, really cool to get.
Was it like for you as well, Andy, as a kid? G.I. Joe comics, got to get your G.I. Joe comic. Or
my cousin was into the comics. I never was, but I can tell you that from the moment the cartoon came out, the very first thing we did when we got home from school, put our bags up, kicked our shoes off, grabbed a cookie, and watched the G.I. Joe religiously. That was like there was no other option of what we were doing for that half hour.
They knew exactly what they were doing.
Yes, me and my two brothers, that's what we did. We got home from school, we turned it on, we watched it from like 3:30 to 4 o'clock every day.
Yep.
And that was back when if you missed an episode, you had to wait a couple months before they looped it again.
Yeah, so, right.
So, yeah. Like there was there was a 5-episode mini series.
Yes.
With the what's the gun thing that they had to get the 3 elements for and stuff. I can't.
Oh remember. Yeah. Like
and I missed like the Tuesday episode, and then I was like, do I even watch the Wednesday episode? Do I even watch the rest of the week because I don't know what's going on? And but yes, of course I watched it, and then I just caught it again, a couple months later when they repeated it before the next season came out. It's like they played the season 2 times through before the next season would come out, So
yeah. What were your dad's like for G.I. Joe? Because obviously it started off in the 60s, Joe's, didn't it? You had your 12-inch figures, and then it went into 70s. So were your dads like when you had your Joes as kids and you watched the cartoons? Were your dads involved like as well?
No. Nope.
So it's just you
boys. I kind of had to hide it.
That special #1 with Snake Eyes is sexual, apparently. Gary Moore says, I'm enjoying Jeff's top 50. Brilliant.
I know.
My siblings and I raced home from the bus to get control of the TV. Lucky I was quick. So GeForce was the same. Except for the bazooka saw, except for bazooka saw a sea serpent. Sometimes they aired 3 weeks in a row. So we got so sick of the same episode. Chris says, I didn't see a G.I. Joe cartoon prop until I was much older. It was the same as me, because if it wasn't for these lads talking about it, and then I found them all on the YouTube, and I watched every episode and I loved them. I fell in love with the Joes from Action Force comics and the figures. Wow.
Yeah, we've kind of brought you to that in the last year or two.
Sure did. I just wanted to know, it's like I said, I think with us all being at this age and so forth, it's not just the toys, it's the history behind it, and why, you know, I'm a person that likes to know, why does this mean so much to you, and why is it so I watched them, and yeah, I think after a couple of episodes, I understood straight away. Yeah, now I know what these lads were talking about. You know, now I understand now where the love for this comes from and so forth. So, yeah, I agree with it. Right, well, there was number 3. Let's get to number 2. So
hey, look, it was Martin. It was Martin.
Yeah, that's number 2. Yeah. Right, Jeff, we've got you big. So, what's your number 2, buddy?
This is where I can't break it down. So I'm just gonna go with Star Wars. And obviously, you know, you got a blue snag and my yak face that I got when I was in the 90s. I picked up for like $30, $40 a piece. I'll just throw that out there. Two things from my Star Wars ones, and they both involve painting. And so a lot of my loose Star Wars collection up here is my original stuff when I was a kid. And I can always tell when it's an original of mine because I would paint the bottom of the feet.
I've got Ewoks that's done the same thing too.
I think we all do that, and yeah. I think we've all bought collections and seen that, you know, like that.
Yeah.
And my R2 or my Boba Fett. That's you know, and so that's one of them that's, you know, super special to me because I can always tell my original collection, and it's just I love those. And then my other one is my original. Oh. I don't have a lot of them original ships. I've only got a couple, but this one was my original TIE fighter. And when I got this for Christmas, it didn't have the sticker sheet in the box, so I painted it when I was a kid. And a few years ago, when I discovered repro stickers, I thought, oh, I should clean that off and repaint that and put real stickers on that and clean it up. And I got talking to you guys, and they're like, no, don't do that. And you're like,
yeah.
I'm like, you're absolutely right. I cannot do that. So this is my original. And I was into modeling at the time. Yeah, I was into model making at the time. So I had some model paint, and so I tried to stick with it. You know, God forbid if I was to mask anything off.
And they're taking you to the cleaners age because you actually called it a TIE.
Oh, did I call it TIE fighter? Sorry, X-wing.
I used to be.
Shut your hole, people. But yeah, it's just you know, something an 8-year-old kid does and just puts it together. And this is my original X-wing for when I was a kid. I've had to replace the canopy. The canopy's not original, and I think I've had to replace a couple of the guns. But yeah,
no, I was talking to Luke Reynolds, and we were talking about card backs, and the only vintage card back I ever have is my old one with the pills taken out, because in England you took the name of the actual on your Star Wars card and you ripped up. But I love it when people find card backs like that or toys like that have been played with or been coloured or been used, because it gives it more character, I think. You know what I mean? Yeah. Pristine is awesome. Don't get me wrong. When you see stuff that's pristine, you think, wow. But I think it shows that these toys were loved and played with them when they were kids. So that's why we all say to keep their color on it, you know, that you paint.
Yeah, I played with I played with this. I mean, and Dave sent me a Power Toy X-Wing that's I absolutely love, that has the chrome R2, and I've got the battle damaged one, and I've got a pristine one that's, you know, out of the box pristine that, you know, complements this one, plus one that's in a box. So I love X-Wings, TIE fighters, and X-Wings, but this is always going to be my favorite and probably one of my favorite things in my entire collection.
we've said this before. Star Wars is a nightmare for that because, you know, we specifically talking about top five. So now you could do your top five of Star Wars vehicles, but then it would change everything from the Endor Ranger to
I know.
the AT-AT. You know what I mean? So when you say, "Oh, Millennium Falcon's the best one," then so well, that's Slave One. Oh, Slave One's just.
I mean, I've got a boxed X-wing up there, and you know, boxed TIE Fighter, and you know, it's just.
Turning your Star Wars card immediately.
I know. I know.
Jeff, look at that.
I've got one thing from my childhood, Star Wars, and I feel the same way about it. Like, it's this. This one was actually mine when I was a kid.
Oh wow!
And Mom made me keep the box because that's where we put all the other Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We kept all the Star Wars stuff in this box, and so it had, you know, I probably had when I was a kid probably 10, 12 figures and a couple of mini rigs and the TIE Interceptor all in this box. And
so that box has seen a lot.
And there's definitely some GI Joes that got to fly this thing too. So
yeah, that was the thing. All my action force played with my Star Wars and that kind of, you know what I mean? It wasn't just Star Wars. Anything 3/4 inch.
I love that, Andy. That's amazing. Yeah,
you know,
so that box has seen a lot come through it.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just in play. It just goes to show when we were kids, we played with our stuff, and we love. I mean, I played with toys for years. You know, I don't think the love of imagination. My mum's back garden or the Christmas tree, and everything was a set or a play set. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and just to digress for a second, I've got a granddaughter now who's a year and a half old, and I have learned to fall in love again with getting on the floor with her and starting to play with stuff.
Yeah,
and it's just like, oh my God, I love this. And she's got little people toy sets, and I'm like, oh, we can collect that together. We can collect that together, and it's just like, yeah.
I've done it twice with my kids. I did it with Lucy when she was younger with the Motu, and I recently did it with my son with the Mario Brothers figures. Remember the Mario figures that came out?
Yeah.
We'd go out and we'd buy the same one together, and it was awesome. Yeah, what a great experience because I think my son was loving it. And you go into his room, and he has them all set out like his dad does, you know, on his shelf, and so absolutely brilliant. Way better painted. I'm sure the Rebels painted their X-wings for real and didn't put giant stickers on it, so yours is more authentic.
I guess so. Yeah.
Let's have a look. That just goes down to the fact you can't read Stu Coin. Everybody on the names, like Steph was only called her Sarah, Stephen. Is that an X-wing, Andy?
Yeah.
Jeff says the new kids line X-wing is very close to the original Kenner X-wing. It's not perfect, and the blast effects are a bit cheesy, but it's pretty decent, especially if you get them on sale. Yeah, I agree. X-wings it's a super cool. It's just brilliant, isn't it? Let's see what else we've got. I still prefer TIE fighters over X-wing fighters. One of my favorites is the TIE Interceptor.
Yeah,
but I've never had one. Never got a TIE Interceptor. Never had one, but I've never been able to find one at a good price. I opened the door for a joke there, Stu. He's still playing now. He's like, yeah, still doing it. Hindsight being 2020, sometimes I wish we didn't play with our toys. I'm glad we did.
We wouldn't collect them if we didn't play with them.
I agree. That's a great way to look at it, Andy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Jeff said that box has seen a lot come through it.
Yeah, as soon as I said that, I knew somebody would jump on that.
Jeff, I'm looking forward to collecting toys with my granddaughter, says Des. Yeah. It's what I mean. It's awesome. Andrew, what's your number 2, buddy?
Okay, Shabby, I'm going to need some help with some pictures on this one, but let me introduce it. This one has been said before, and it is 100% one of mine, but it's the Red 5 figure book. Now, having gotten to be a part of this in a small way, it carries some special meaning to me because there's like 5 pictures in the book that I actually took of things that were either mine or I eventually sent to Greg and Johnny. So being able to be a part of this from almost, well, we were in communication with them pretty early on. And so getting to know Greg and Johnny and get updates from them through the Kickstarter, like, you know, every other week or so. And they were very communicative, even though the process took longer than I think they were hoping it would. But then so like I've told this before, so forgive me, but they would, anytime they would buy something for the book so that they could take pictures of it, and they wouldn't ship to the UK, they would send to me, and I would either take pictures of them and send it to them, or I would just, you know, send it to them on their way, because I ship to the UK. And so I got to see a lot of things.
Hang on, was that a dig there? Was that a dig? Because I don't send to it. I do ship. It just takes me a few years. I'll get it that way. So.
No, if you feel convicted in any way, Shabby, that's not on me. So,
right, okay.
But Josh and I got sent. This is the proof. This is the printer proof book.
Yeah.
And so there are a couple of things that got edited or changed from this version, but the proof version came with all the different book covers. Ah, shoot. Come on, focus, don't fail me now. So there's a silver and a gold, and the gold is actually a different color than what ended up being the gold. And I'll tell you Josh dropped it, and so the binding got a little
that Josh
bungled. He claims that the dog knocked it off the shelf, but we all know better, Josh. But the proof sheet, the printer, that's right, the printer proof, right? This is what we call it.
Yeah, printer proof. Yep.
So one of the hardest things, and it was difficult not to say anything about it, but being able to see them acknowledge, like, all of the podcasting group of people that helped promote it, and some of the like personal touches in the book that we couldn't say anything about, knowing that it was.
I remember you guys saying to us as well, "You're gonna love it. You're gonna
be blown away." And I'll be honest with you here. When I opened it up and I saw, you know, that Josh and I were mentioned in it, and then in the back seeing how some of our other collector friends were mentioned in it too, like it made me teary, because not only am I like super thankful that they did this, like, this project is awesome, but just in some small way having my name attached to it, I'm very proud of that. And
you look at it as a part of the this is the way I look at that book. I've always said it's the back of the book, and knowing my friends like yourself got involved with it, and we all promoted it, and we all did it, but to see us all in the back of it, it's that part of this that over the past 5 years that I'm really proud of. And so I agree with everything you see, all the names and everybody that helped out, and I think it's awesome.
But even that aside, this is so bleeping cool. This is such a good book. And even if I was not attached to it or had the personal experience with it, this would be a top 5 thing of mine, because it is so good and so well put together. And none of us will ever know how much time and energy was put into making this book, because it blazes its own trail. And so there's nothing really like it. And so the first picture Shabby put up for me, please, the kind of the corner of the room picture. So this was in a different room, but it was my Red 5 reading corner. And you can see a book and then there's a case for it as well that Drew from Collector Displays made for those that wanted them. Some of the posters from the book are up there. There is a page of the Biker Scout that they sent me. And then I also have the the card front and back supplemental book. And so anyway, it's just all of my Red 5 stuff kind of in one corner there, that I could flip through, and honestly, I use the proof book if I need to look up anything, or if I want to read about something. I use the proof book just so that I don't have to open up, my copy. And so but yeah, there's a little corner of that room that I have dedicated to my Star Wars intellectual journey on my figures.
I use it all the time too, Andy. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. So
I love that you and Shabby have the red ones like that.
Yeah, everything Andy said, I agree with. I mean, it was nice to get to know these fellas, and they're generally nice. But I agree. It's just the things that they did for us. It's like the logo, the Shabby Geek logo at the top. That's a Red 5 Designs logo. Yeah, he just sent it to me and said, "Shabby, I want you to do that." And I was like, "What?" Do you know what I mean? That means that. So that will be my logo forever. Do you know what I mean? But I agree with everything Andy said for what these fellas did for us. Like they really made us feel special, didn't they? And it was, it's a great book. It really is.
It's crazy.
And so with if you've been keeping up with the guys, volume 2 has started.
Mm-hmm.
There's no date yet for when you can order it or when it'll be completed, but they have started on it. And I asked if there was anything that I could share on this stream about volume 2, and Johnny sent me a couple of pictures that I gave to Shabby. So if you want to put up those there, buddy boy.
I don't think you sent them to me.
Maybe I did through Twitter.
Through Twitter, let me see. Let me give me 1 sec.
What's Twitter?
Let's see.
And I regret, Andy, just because I got on the bandwagon a little bit late, and so my book back here is a second printing. I wish I had the first printing, because being a first edition collector, I kick myself for not doing it. But I did like you. I ended up buying some of the printing proofs, and just getting the page proofs and stuff is pretty damn cool. But I ended up getting a custom book stand for mine out of some guy. My wife found it for me for a Christmas present. It's a Quran, or a large Quran or book Bible holder out of Turkey. And so I keep mine open all the time. When I bought the big collection here, this thing was invaluable for looking things up.
Shabby, let me just send them to your Instagram.
Yeah, send them to Instagram, because I haven't got them on Twitter either, my friend, unfortunately. But if you send them to it, I can get them straight away. So that'd be perfect.
Right. I just did right there. So sorry, I thought I had sent them.
It's all right, buddy. Take me 2 seconds.
So yeah, volume 2 is underway. And of course you can follow their website and get updates from there as well.
Right.
Yeah. Connor just put a link for the wait list. I've already joined the wait list also.
Yeah, and that'll get you on a kind of like a newsletter.
So there's this one for mini rigs, is that right?
Yeah.
Can you see that?
It's pretty small.
Let me see. Well, carry on talking, and I'll get them up and I'll get them big. So just give me 2 secs. I'll get that done.
Okay. Well, volume 2 is vehicles, play sets, die cast, micro collection, and I feel like there's one more. Mini rigs. Did I say mini rigs?
Yes.
I thought there was 5 things. So vehicles, play sets, mini rigs, micro collection, and die cast. Nope, those are the 5. At least right now. Who knows what they also might throw in there, because if you recall, originally it was just like figures, and then it was like armory, and then it was the catalogs, and then it was the multi-packs. And so who knows if they'll throw in more things, but
yeah, some of these things are Just amazing.
I'll be 2 secs, boys, and I've got them. Image.
Sorry, Shab, I didn't mean to grind us to a halt here.
No, it takes 2 seconds. Don't worry about it, pal. Don't worry at all.
Right. Gary, don't look at this. I know it's C3PO. His favorite.
Yeah, I have 2 of the proof pages framed. One's the Biker Scout and one was of Boba Fett.
Yeah, I love these things. The proof pages are amazing.
Right.
I believe there are still some for sale on the website too. If you
yeah, I think they are.
Buy some proof sheets from the book.
Gary, we'll talk about Joe Fest.
Here we go. So I've got the pictures right here.
Nice. Yeah, that Biker Scout one's awesome.
So there's that one first.
Okay, so yeah,
same format then.
Yeah, similar format, mini rigs. It'll be the same size.
It's amazing how they've done it, and so this time it's 2 mini rigs. And are they doing the 12-inch figures? Did you say? Sorry, I was.
The 12-inch were in the figure book, so
that's right. Wow. So there's them ones. Then we've got. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that to break down all the Jabba's palace set like that.
Yeah.
Look at the Death Star one above it.
So I guess creatures would be included in this one as well.
Right.
Yep.
And we've got this one.
Oh, yeah, that
you had these. These are the last 17 vehicles, aren't they, at the bottom?
Yeah, those are the last 17 mini rigs.
Hard to find. Some of those are hard to find.
As well. Wow. I never had diecast vehicles, so that'd be interesting to read up about them.
Yeah.
I just completed my set of diecast figures, vehicles. I love them.
And then the play sets. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Is he doing the Palatoy Death Star set as well? Do you know, Andy?
No, this is just Kenner. This is
just Kenner.
Yep. Just like the figure book was just Kenner.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, so I agree 100% with them. They're all unbelievable, aren't they?
So there was a sneak peek in the volume 1 figure book of the of the Death Star playset. You know, it's coming soon, kind of a preview page. But yeah, they've begun it, and I can't wait to see what they do with it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Stu hasn't even opened his book yet. It says here.
That's crazy, Stu.
What a shocker, Stu! You not opening things. Hi, JT. Nice to see JT here. Let's just get down a bit here. Made me cry seeing that as well. The fella's made up for it in the second printing, though, right? I'm hoping some of the vehicle pics of the collection will make it into volume 2.
Yeah.
And his Connor's right there says, just join the waitlist here for Red Five Designs book 2. Also, no doubt that you'll have them on HOLOCHRONICLES as well, won't you? Because I know we'll have them on, you'll have them on, and so forth. So anyone who hasn't subscribed to Chasing 80s or HOLOCHRONICLES, the link to these 2 gentlemen's YouTube channels is in the description at the bottom. You should really give me that, Jeff. It's a cool R5 that made the print proofs available to buy. I picked the intro pages with the figure evolution. I love it. Yeah, just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Hey, JT. Right, well, we've got down to some number 2s. Let's get to number 1. Right, Andy, I've got you big, so we can do your number 1. So is this where we're going to your video?
Yeah, this is where we go to the video.
Right, so let's get you there. Let's add that to the stage, and let's get that bigger.
All right. So, didn't quite make that, unfortunately. But we got some other posters over here. No, it's not that poster. No.
Which is awesome.
So I got to show in the entirety here. This is my Boba Fett section of my collection.
Right, so Cy did something like this as well. When Cy did his top 5, he picked Biker Scout. So your number 1 is Boba Fett.
Is Boba Fett. And let's just go through this here, because it is kind of a sub collection that I got into a few years ago. It's taken a few years to get all this stuff, but I'm quite proud of it. I think there's some pretty cool items in here that I cherish. So let's start at the top. So this is just a standard Slave One fire spray.
That looks brand new.
But I painted it.
That's the one you painted, right?
Yes, it's got the navy blue and red markings that you would see on the 41 backs of the Empire Strikes Back cards. And so this was like the original coloring that they had in mind before they started putting them out. And so I painted one up to match that. So it has navy blue, it's light gray, it's not green, and red. So a little custom jobber that I made. And then the red 5 proof sheet of Boba behind it. My Left Coast Graphic Slave One pen. A loose inbox Slave One.
It's a cool shipping it, Slave One. It really is.
And my droid Boba Fett.
There it is. Yeah.
Oh, the infamous droids Boba Fett. Now, underneath here in the next row, I have every card front that Boba Fett came out on. So this was the first Boba Fett Star Wars card. And then you'll see I only have a little bit poking out because the badges on them are different. So these are all of the different card fronts with the different like mail-aways and other promotional items on the fronts of the cards. And we're into the Empire Strikes Back now. And I've tried to, if it's a Hong Kong card, I tried to put a Hong Kong, there's a Boba Fett figure for every one of these. And I tried to match them up. If it's Taiwan, I have a Taiwan. If it's Hong Kong, I have a Hong Kong with them. But then we go to row 3.
The country, the origin of the card goes with the country of origin of the figure. Wow.
Yeah, I tried to match them up. I know that's a bit anal retentive, but that's
not at all. How long did that take to do?
3 years.
Wow. Okay.
This one right here was the hardest one for me to get with that badge on it. So, and down to the Turn of the Jedi. I do not have a Revenge of the Jedi card, unfortunately. But then this one right here is a Minton card, and that I traded most of my GI Joes for that right there about 8 years ago. And then I've got another Minton card, but it's the coin giveaway. They're the same, card back, but also got the offering on it, the coin offering. And then a mail away set.
Unbelievable. What a collection.
I guess that's Palatoy. That's a Bounty Hunter capture log. This is a picture proof of the card right next to it. I thought that was kind of cool.
Gary Moore said you need a Dickie Beard card back. He's the stuntman who played him in Return of the Jedi. Such a cool fella.
Here's that comic. Down to the next shelf. These are my foreign Boba Fett cards. So that's a Palatoy Empire Strikes Back. There's I have a German one back there. That one I believe is French Canadian. Lily Letty, that one was a very tough one to find. And then these were a Palatoy Return of the Jedi, and then a Tri logo. And again, I tried to match PvP figures and Lily Letty figures with the card backs so that they match. This is my my eating mat.
We just say hello to Red 5 Designs. Hi, John. Evening, chaps and chat. Bit late to the party. Nice to see you, buddy.
Hey, just got done talking. His ears must have been burning. And then, I got a couple helmets down here. This is just a Black Series Book of Boba Fett helmet. A Lego helmet, of course, a mug. I do have a Tamura Morrison autograph back here on a drawing that my friend drew. And then my EFX Empire Strikes Back helmet with, prior to,
Wow.
these are the 6 people that wore the helmet in the movies on screen. So Daniel Logan, Jeremy Bullock, Johnny Morton, Dickie Beer, John Bees, and Mark Austin. So they were all Boba Fett on screen for the movies prior to Tamura Morrison and the modern Disney Star Wars. So that's my Boba Fett collection. Pretty proud of it. Like I said, it's taken a long time to get all these guys, but I don't know. That's kind of cool, right?
Is there anything that you want to add to it, Andy? Is there anything there that you're looking for that you want to add to that?
Gosh.
I have something you need to add to it.
What?
I'll show it to you when you come back to me. Keep going though.
Well, that's it. That's all I've got to show for my Boba stuff. But yeah, there's a couple of custom card backs that I have. They're kind of cool.
Steve's.
Yeah, good old Steve. Yeah, and then that was an Echo giveaway from Chocolate Chip Wookie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number one, guys. That's what's taken a long time and effort and a few dollars to put together.
That droids one is amazing.
Yeah.
Man, that whole set's amazing, Andy.
Well, thank you. I'm proud of it.
Oh, you should.
Yeah, I think the lads are really happy with this. Loads of lads are loving this collection and so forth.
We need to get Andy this.
Let's have a look.
This is first appearance of Boba Fett in the comic books.
Oh yeah, yeah. I could add that to the.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We'll talk. That's my extra one.
Des said, "Would Andy go for the Muppets Fett stuff?"
The Muppets. I did like the Muppet Show when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Delvian's in awe of that. Yeah. What is it about Boba Fett? You know, but it's the same way as we Return of the Jedi. Luke, every time I see him in that black outfit, I go for him. And are you happy with the way Boba Fett's progressed in the Disney era?
So I guess, and I feel like, Shabby, we talked about this a few years ago, but
yeah,
I think the reason why Boba Fett became popular is because you didn't know who was underneath it. So it could be anybody, which was like, it could be me. And because there was no real story behind them, you could make your own story. And so back when kids had imaginations in the 1980s, he could be anybody doing anything at any time. So that made him really playable. Plus, he looked cool.
The design was amazing.
He looked really, really cool. And so you got a guy that you could do anything with. He had his own ship too, which was kind of cool. He was mysterious, and so you could fill in the blank with who he was, where he came from, what he was up to, whether or not he was a good guy or a bad guy. As a bounty hunter, he could go kind of either direction. And maybe that kind of made him an anti-hero before they became so popular, in the last 15 years. But the second part to your question, Shabby, do I like where they've taken him? And the answer is yes, sort of. because as soon as you start to give him the story, because everybody wanted that, there was no doubt that people wanted that. But once you give him the story, now all of that imagination and creativity goes away.
Yeah, the
Now,
mysteriousness goes away.
all the things that he could be or could do now are limited to what one person or a group of creatives think is best for him. And so that's a mixed bag for me. I love Boba Fett in The Mandalorian. He was badass. He came and was awesome. Now in the Book of Boba Fett, it's a little bit mixed for me. I thought some of it was really cool, and I guess I was just left wanting a bit more. Like they made him kind of weak, and I get the vulnerability, like make him relatable, and he is older and all that kind of stuff. Like I get it. However, I don't know how you feel about the movie Logan, where they show kind of Wolverine at the end.
Yeah.
And even though he was older and weak and didn't really survive it, like he was still badass, and he was still like it wasn't. So I don't know what I was really hoping for, but at the end of it, I kind of liked it, but I was left wanting. So that's my opinion on it. Everyone's allowed their own opinion on it, but
exactly, it's what you think. Do you have any of the vintage collection figures, as in Fett vintage collection figures?
I did at one time. I had quite a few, but as far as I don't have any more vintage collection. I take that back. I have a few Rex figures, but I sold my Boba Fett. Because the only Rex figures you can get are in the last 20 years. So but no, I don't have any vintage collection anymore. I've sold all my vintage collection Black Series, and so I don't have any of those anymore.
Is the mail away acrylic on another shelf?
No, it was on the shelf. It was there.
Whoa, Boba Fett's the Disco Kids. I can't believe it. You're Boba Fett.
What about some of the Stan Solo Fetts?
Awesome. Not for me.
Yeah.
That's an amazing collection of Boba Fett figures. Red 5 says, gotta love Mr. Fett. Connor says Logan was a phenomenal movie. Totally agree with Andy regarding Fett and Book of Boba Fett. Yeah,
I agree.
You're not just the only one on your own there. That was the only thing for me. It was great seeing him come out, because we always had that thing, wasn't it? And I remember years ago on YouTube, someone made a fan movie of Boba Fett getting out of the Sarlacc and his slave, and it was perfect.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was happy to see it, but I did like the mysterious aspect of it. It would have been great, Universal Toy Collector, our Stu says, the trouble with Disney Star Wars is that they try and make every character relatable. That's a good thing too. Here we go. Hang on, Andy, let's make you big.
Look at that.
Wow. So for anyone that doesn't know, Andy, just explain that.
This was the so like on the Star Wars 21 backs, the first one to come out, they had the Boba Fett mail away offer on them, and this is what you would mail away and get.
Amazing.
So this is the Kenner US version. This is not the Palatoy version, but you get a little a mailer box, a catalog, and then a little write up about who Boba Fett was. And here, let me just read it to you, since we're doing a little history lesson on him. Let me get through it. Boba Fett is a fearsome intergalactic bounty hunter who was introduced in the November 1978 Star Wars television special, A Wookiee Holiday. He pretended to befriend Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca, C-3PO, and R2-D2 while secretly plotting with Darth Vader to trap the Rebel Alliance. Boba Fett will also play a major role in the next Star Wars movie, The Empire Strikes Back. So this was 1979. 78, 79, when you could mail away before Empire Strikes Back came out, and this is what you would get.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's amazing.
VTR wants to know, rocket firing Boba Fett next, Andy? Are you going to get that?
I guess if there was a next thing, the Lily Letty removable rocket would be the next most reasonable.
Yeah.
Boba Fett Revenge of the Jedi proof card is probably around 20 grand. Maybe more. But that removable rocket, that Lily Letty, you can find for under $10,000 sometimes. So yes, I guess that would be the next. I don't have any designs of getting one at this time, but
Johnny says, "Oh, those bloody 21 packs."
Yeah.
And then Bob's 18 pounds says, "I can relate 20 Star Wars characters. Just look at my name. Obviously a Trekkie."
Crazy.
Brilliant. Right, Jeffers. What is your number one, pal?
Well, before that, Dave asked if I did have the die-cast TIE Bomber, and yes, I do.
Wow.
TIE Bomber.
That's white too. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really white.
Yeah.
In good shape. A few dings and scratches, but those always are. Mine is down to a single figure. And it's him. It's the skier.
Yeah.
Actually, he didn't come with the skis. This is an Adventure People person. And he is I'm trying to look up real quick. This is my very first action figure I ever got that I still have. And he is I don't know how many people collect Adventure People. He came out in like 76 is when they first started coming out. And pretty common figure, nothing major about him. He came in a scuba diver set with a girl. The girl that he came with was her. This is one I picked up later. And they came with a raft and a couple scuba diver things. And their names are Matt and Becky.
Matt and Becky.
Matt and Becky, yep. But these are Tonka made. I don't know how many people collect Adventure People, but I absolutely love Adventure People. And you can pick them up pretty cheap these days still. Some of them are a little more expensive, some are not. And so this one's in pretty good shape still. Still has the logo of the dolphin on the back, the leaping dolphin, which I love. And they're just so well made. They don't fall apart. These were the prototypes that were used for when Kenner went to sell Star Wars to Lucas. They used the mock-ups of Adventure People.
Matt says here, can they use them as prototypes for figures for Star Wars?
Yeah. They always have the beer can holding hand. Everyone's like, the hand that holds things like that. But they're simple. They're made for 4 and 5 year old kids.
Do you think the idea for Star Wars came from these then? Do you think,
well,
the figures?
I think that size maybe.
The size, the size, yeah.
This size was kind of brought over from Japan a little bit with Micronauts at the time, and that was kind of around this size. And they started doing it because what I think one of the big things that propelled this size was because you could do vehicles, and they wouldn't break the bank or take up tons of room. So, you could have a ship and then this size, and they would fit. So, it just was kind of the perfect size. I mean, look at Black Series today. You can't. I mean, how many Millennium Falcons are there out there?
Well, they stopped the vehicles a couple of years back. The Snowspeeder was the last one. Never got one since. So, best cheated. I remember having the motorbike guy, orange and brown Adventure People. I think you have him, don't you, Jeff?
I do. And this mine has the sidecar.
Oh, look at that! That's so cool.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, it's in the book. Yeah, there you go. Micronauts to Adventure People to Star Wars.
You're a bit out of focus, Andy.
All day.
There you go. Right there. There he is. Yeah, you're right. So he's in the book.
Yep. And then my favorite set when I was a kid was actually this one, which was the
Sea Explorer.
The Sea Explorer, and it actually floated, and then this guy came off, and you can these little scuba things would just kind of fit over the top, and I don't want to do it too much. I don't want to scuff up
DTL
stuff.
says, "Have you ever seen Jeff's cream figure before?" Oh yeah, on Andy's stuff.
Exactly.
Based on Andy's Star Wars.
Yep. Yeah.
The Trailblazer set was awesome.
All the sets are amazing. They had some weird sets too. I mean, they had a TV production crew with a van, and
I thought the Adventure People's duo was called Pete and Leslie.
Exactly. You know, they had these great vans here. You know, that could. And then they got into, you know, after Star Wars was a big hit, they got into some of the space stuff. There's a shuttle one. I just picked up a huge collection, super cheap, off Facebook Marketplace about a month ago. It had all the space stuff in it, and I have no idea.
One of your longest memories back then, playing with Adventure People.
Yeah, Adventure People. Yep. This guy and this boat especially were my oldest toy memories.
And you took them in the tub too, didn't you?
Took them what? In the tub. Yeah. We did a lot of camping and hunting and fishing when I was a kid, and we would go to a place called Hell's Canyon on the Oregon-Idaho border, and they went with me all the time because we did a lot of swimming in the river on the Snake River.
They were well made, though, weren't they? These
They're
toys
super well made.
Yeah. Now you said something. Can I just go back to what you said before? You said Tonka, and I was always under the impression it was Fisher Price.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You were right. You're right. They're Fisher Price.
It is Fisher Price. I'm not to say you're right.
X-wing, TIE Fighter. I mean,
I know. It's the alcohol.
No, it wasn't to correct you. I thought, did Tonka make them also, or did Fisher Price buy it and that kind of thing? So
yeah, and that's the thing about these things. I swear, if you're going to dig things up someone's backyard these days, or somebody else's, you know, if you're going to find an action figure buried in some dirt lot or something, more than likely it's going to be an Adventure People, because these were the things that people took outside and played with out in the yard.
Do you have any recollection of when they finished? When did they finish making? Because I think they made them through Star Wars, didn't they? And through
they did. I'm looking up. I think it was like 83 or 84 was when they stopped making them. 84, something like that. Yeah, because the space sets and stuff. You know, some of the space guys. One of the really rare guys is this guy.
Yeah. We looked them up, didn't we? There was like $200 or $200 were expensive.
Yeah, and I picked this up in a set of all the space stuff. Let me grab it real quick.
The next pickup for Andy, a new camera, says our guy. It's not been that bad, Andy. It's not been. You don't listen to him. I had the TV news van. The camera was great. I think you have the TV news van as well, don't you, Jeff?
I don't have the TV news van. I wish I did.
Right.
But
jeez, Oppie. So Oppie says the scale came from the oil shortage in the 70s.
You're right.
You're wow. Right.
Okay. They had all of this stuff here. The Alpha Star.
Oh, yeah, I loved that vehicle. Yeah.
All this stuff. They had a shuttle. They would open up, and this guy could fly around, and then this would come off the back and attach to here. And
that's the one you've just recently bought, isn't it? So
yeah, this is the set I just got.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, this guy here he would come up and fly away, and I don't know, they're just so well designed.
Did you get these as well, Andy? Were you into Adventure?
No, I'm not as old as Jeff.
That's true. It is weird. It's one of those cutoffs of you're either got into GI, because I'm not in, like Shabby. I'm not into Transformers or He-Man. I didn't like those at all. And so
we had a ton of Fisher Price stuff growing up. A ton of it. And if I'm ever on a Tub Thumpers, that's what we're gonna go see.
You'll be on next season 4. You're on.
But we had a ton of that stuff. But at no time do I ever remember seeing or playing with Adventure People like that. That is something that I never really knew of until later. We had Fisher Price stuff like crazy before, and I'm talking like little kid era. Yeah. But no, we never had any of the Adventure People. But it seems like you know, guys like my cousins who were like 5 years older than me, they did. That was the toys that they started playing with when they were young. And then that eventually became, you know, other things. But
Yeah.
they were like the starter toys for kids that were born in the early 70s.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Jeff went to Hell's Canyon. Us Brits went to Bognor Regis. I'm looking for your way. Bognor Regis is a great place.
Yeah, Hell's Canyon has it's on the Snake River between Oregon and Idaho, and it has parts of the river that they've never found the bottom because it's so deep.
Wow. Every sandbox on every playground probably had adventure people buried in them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I take it back. Jeff's top 500.
I know. I just start parading them out, Gary.
Oh, they are. So 10 years. Yes, 75 to 85. Okay.
Yeah.
Tonka made play people were very similar to Fisher-Price adventure people.
Yeah, but yeah, this is Fisher-Price.
Did they ever bring them back? You know, like they brought Star Wars back many a time, Joe. But did they ever bring adventure people back, Jeff?
No, I don't think they ever did.
Wow.
Could be wrong, but I don't think so.
I mean, there is a version of that called Playmobil that they have.
Right.
As you can see there, big fan of that stuff. Love that stuff.
And Little People, they've got Little People out now again. It's a little different than what they used to have, but like Little People used to have. I picked up this set and it had a Little People thing in it. I can't find it, but it's the little. They didn't have any legs. They just had the little. You stuck them in the little hole, and they just had the little circular bottom.
Yeah.
And I started getting those for our granddaughter again, and they're awesome.
So Sags, our good friend Super Awesome, has just did a video on the news van, right? That's a definite. Chasing 8 says, great top fives, Andy and Jeff. Great show. I don't remember Adventure People. I can't believe as old as you lot. You're rubbing it in. Oh
yeah. The parachutes.
Parachutes? What are they? Let me just make you bigger sec. What are them bad boys?
These are the parachutes. So you'd put the guy in here. He had, you know, the little strap there for him, and then you'd wad this up, and like that, and then you'd throw him in the air, and he'd come down, and he'd catch air, and he would come down and just it'd be a parachuter. And these things are awesome, and I can't tell you how many those I lost when I was a kid.
We had lots of the boats, divers, set, seaplane, safari, dirt bike, rescue squad, adventure people were awesome. Yeah. They really, really were. There we go. The parachuting gliders were great.
Yep.
Can they use adventure people? Yeah, we saw that before. Hang on. Is Jeff going to do some magic when you put that? Oh. Well, there you have it. There is Jeff and our Andy's top 5. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I loved it. I knew it would be cool. Awesome stuff. Awesome. I think everybody enjoyed it themselves. So, like I said before, if you're not subscribed to HOLOCHRONICLES or Chasing 80s, links are in the description. But I think everybody is. I think everybody knows me, definitely knows you too, and so forth. Anything coming up, lads, before we get off?
Joe Fest.
Joe Fest. Can't wait. Can't wait for Joe Fest. Anything on HOLOCHRONICLES coming up, Andy, that you know of, that you're thinking of?
No, but Josh and I will probably do an Andor wrap up. We got some interesting thoughts and ideas about season 2 and how that connects to the original trilogy and all that. And I'll save my thoughts for that stream. No date set yet because Josh is gone, per usual. But yeah, looking forward to Joe Fest and seeing you guys and seeing some faces too. So that'll be fun.
Seeing Chris, meeting Chris.
Oh yeah, Mira, Gary Moore, Mira, Goldie. There's a few of them that I've never met before that I can't wait.
Gary,
so it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, fantastic tonight. All that stuff belongs in the museum. Also, I think everybody enjoyed your collections, boys. Even our RP, awesome collections. Great group in the chat too. Yeah, like I say, the response to my top 5s have been absolutely fantastic, and for them to be, 50 more people in every week watching. I can't be happier, so thank you all so much. So please like and subscribe, and we have a Patreon if you'd like to join that. Helps the channel grow so I can make live streams like this. But apart from that, it's been absolutely brilliant. I've loved it. Oh, I'm going only caught the last bit, but enjoyed that. Have a great. Well, you want to watch, you want to see, you might enjoy it if you replay it. Oh, I'll just say that. See you, Taras, as our site. Awesome top 5. We all knew it would be. Have a great weekend, everyone. See you all Friday night for ZSR. Yeah, ZSR on Friday. We're on the Match channel on Friday. And next Monday, Scuba Pete and Gary Moore will be in your chairs next week. They're doing the top 5 next week.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so I can't wait for next week too. But thank you all for watching. Cheers, Jeff. Cheers, Andy, for coming on and showing us your top 5.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Say goodnight, fellas. Good night.
Good night, fellas.